When we need to prepare for a competitive event, our go-to company is the Army Painter.
Thanks to their complete range of paints, spray cans, and gaming tools, we're able to complete our new armies and units in no time.
When we need to elevate the quality of our models and terrain, the Army Painter is always our first choice.
You may not know this, but the Army Painter has sponsored more competitive events than any other hobby company.
Tournament and wargaming is in their DNA.
Visit thearmypainter.com to learn more about their amazing products.
And use promo code AW Paints for a 5% discount from your Army Painter purchases.
What are you waiting for? Discover the best way to prepare your models for events with the Army Painter today.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another exciting Art of War video. We are here live talking about the most insidious, the newest, the sneakiest army in Warhammer 40,000, the Genestealer Cults.
Yes, we got the Forearm Friends. We got their new codex. It's brand new, it's brand shiny, and for once, I have not read it. So John, who has read it, is going to be a reader of the rules, and I'm going to be the reaction action man.
Absolutely. You are the prowling reactionist.
Yes, I've always wanted to prowl. I'm a good prowler.
Absolutely. We're really excited for this. Games Workshop sent us a copy of the new Genestealer Cult Codex, and we are here to break down all of the rules inside. This is brand new. It's just gone on pre-order, and well, we're pretty darn excited.
Yes, we are. I'm very excited for this. So this is what we do here. We talk about competitive 40K. So we're going to be looking at this codex through the lens of a competitive Warhammer player. But we're also going to be looking at it through its coolness and its newness because it's new, cool, and awesome.
Absolutely. Of course, if you want to catch even more amazing Genestealer Cult content, well, you can already watch games with this brand new codex being played on our channel right now.
That's right. I've already played games with this Genestealer Cult army. It's available in the War Room. You can check it out in our link below, thewarroom.vhx.tv. That's where you get access to all of our subscription content, our videos, our tactics, where we teach you the game, help you learn it, and become your best. So if you want to learn Genestealer Cult, if you're interested in knowing what they do, both for your own army or for maybe your friends who you play against all the time and you want to know what sneaky tricks they're up to, this is the place where you can check all that out.
Absolutely. You check that out in the War Room in that link below, or by becoming a member of our YouTube channel. As well, please make sure that you like this video, share with your friends, especially your your sneaky cultist friends, and subscribe to the channel. That'll get you notified every time we go live because, well, with 2 new codexes out, I guarantee we're going to have a lot of content coming up soon. As a matter of fact, there's probably going to be a game being played on our YouTube channel quite soon, and if you subscribe, you'll get notified when we're going live.
That's right. We do weekly content week in, week out, and not only did we get a Genestealer Cult Codex this day, but we got an Adeptus Sororitas one, so if you play that army, or if you're interested in them, check that video out. We have a review going out as well, and a whole review covering the brand new changes to the game as well.
Absolutely. Lots going on right now. Very exciting times for Warhammer, so make sure you check this out. All right, Mr. Nick, are you excited? Are you ready? Are you...
All 4 of my arms have been planning this for generations, John. We are ready.
All right, let's then just dive into this codex. Let's start off with the army rule, shall we? Yeah. So this is Cult Ambush. This is the same rule, fundamentally, that we had in the index with Genestealer Cult. Now, it has some small changes, but I'll read out the whole thing. Okay. So, if your army faction is Genestealer Cults, each time a unit with this ability is destroyed, roll 1d6, adding 1 to the result if it is the first or second battle round. On a 5, add a new unit to your army, identical to your restored unit, in Cult Ambush at its starting strength, with all of its wounds remaining, and any one-shot weapons those models are equipped with, considered as not having been shot.
Okay, so that's pretty much the same.
Pretty much the same. There's no mention of Battle Line getting a +1 to that roll. But when using Cult Ambush, it is also considered to be in reserves. Then place 1 Cult Ambush marker anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inches horizontally from all enemy units. And if this is not possible, no marker is placed. If an enemy model, excluding aircraft, ends any kind of move within 9 inches of a Cult Ambush marker you place, that Cult Ambush marker is removed from the battlefield. And then at the end of the reinforcement step of your opponent's next movement phase, for each of your Cult Ambush markers still on the battlefield, select 1 unit from your army that is in Cult Ambush, set up that unit using the Cult Ambush marker. To do so, set the unit up on the battlefield more than 9 inches horizontally away from all enemy units, well, with at least 1 model in that unit touching that Cult Ambush marker, and all other models placed wholly within 3 inches of that Cult Ambush marker.
So technically a nerf now in the rule, but pretty much what it was functionally with the balance state slate from long ago.
Yeah, so now though you have that no bonus to battle line units.
Yeah.
And was it 3 inches before? You have to be holding than 3?
It really is very
That
small.
is very small. Okay. So that's that. They of course still have the same caveat that characters that are attached don't come back.
Right.
All right, so same rules before, maybe a little bit less emphasis on battle line.
Yeah, that's okay.
We'll see how that continues. Now, first up, we have the Host of Ascension. This is definitely the detachment that is most similar to the Index.
Right.
It's not identical, but it is very clearly the same detachment with some changes.
Every codex we've seen basically does this. They take their index attachment, they change like a couple things here and there, and largely we would just move on.
Yeah. So let's talk about the detachment rule. Perfect ambush. This is exactly the same as before. When you set up on the battlefield as reinforcements until the end of your next fight phase, all weapons equipped by models in that unit have sustained 1 and ignores cover.
It's a good rule before, it's a good rule now.
It was a good rule before and it's a good rule now. We're on to the enhancements. Some of these are familiar, some of these aren't. So Prowling Adjutant. Once per turn, when an enemy unit ends a normal, advance, or fallback move within 9 of the bear's unit, if the bear's unit does not have an engagement range, they can make a normal move of up to D6 inches.
Yeah, pretty much the
I
same
think that's the same as before. It was D6 before, right?
Yeah.
Okay, still good though. Next is a chink in their armor. Each time the bear is set up on the battlefield as reinforcements, each time, then until the end of your next fight phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in the bear's unit have the lethal hits ability.
Ooh, lethal hits is brand new, and it couples nicely with reroll hits, which I assume the Primus still does.
Yeah, you can probably assume that.
I could probably assume that. We'll find out soon. And with reroll hits, stacking with lethal hits, stacking with sustained hits, now we're gonna kill people.
Yeah, that absolutely is a nice damage buff. That's just a good, solid enhancement.
That's like an auto take with this detachment.
Yep. Yeah, that's
for
one
sure.
I think you're going to see very often.
I like that.
Next up is Our Time is Nigh. Once per battle, when the bearer's unit declares a charge, the bearer can use this enhancement. Until the end of the phase, add 2 to charge rolls made for the bearer's unit.
Oh, I love that. There's finally a charge mechanic in this army. There's so much deep striking. This used to be a combat army, believe it or not.
I remember.
You remember. Everyone remembers.
Yeah, that's just great. 2 of these enhancements so far are really solid. I love lethal hits for shooting. I love a charge bonus. I love that the index feels a little more all-rounder already.
Love it.
And then finally, we have another new enhancement, and this is Assassination Edict. Each time a model in the bear's unit makes an attack that targets a character unit, add 1 to the hit roll.
Oh, you know what is a character unit, John?
There's a lot of those.
Any unit that has a character attached. There's so many. Everybody be joining character teams these days.
Yeah, anyone with the leader, just +1 hit.
Genestealer Cults have a bit of a ballistic skill problem. They don't hit that well, but they rely on the rerolls to hit and sustained hits to carry them through. This really helps solve that.
Absolutely. This is great.
Awesome.
3 enhancements here are great. And even the fourth one, Prowling Adjutant, is still solid.
Yeah, this is a dramatic increase in the enhancement of the first attack.
Absolutely. And I believe what they lost was an Infiltrate enhancement and a Vect type enhancement.
Yeah.
Although at least one of those has been moved over to another attachment. I don't actually recall. What was the 4th enhancement that got lost?
There was a Heroic Intervention one.
Got it. Got it. Well, that seems to be gone.
That's fine.
Yep. Maybe that's somewhere else. We'll have to see. Now we're going into the stratagems. Some of these will feel similar. First up is Coordinated Trap. This is a battle tactic. 2 CP, target 2 Genestealer Cult units from your army that have not been selected to shoot or fight this phase. And then you select 1 enemy unit. If you use the stratagem in the fight phase, you have to pick an enemy unit within engagement range of both of your units, which I think is no. But until the end of the phase, each time either of your units makes an attack, you can only target that enemy unit and adds 1 to the wound roll.
Okay, so pretty much the same thing now also works in combat. This attachment helps you with close combat, but not enough that I'm getting excited about it. But maybe the data sheets will change, the points will change, and that might also change the context there. But largely speaking, this is the same stratagem.
Yeah, I think the big thing is that you have to have your 2 units in engagement range, because you used to pick 2 units and you could pick like someone on your backfield.
Well, you're picking, it's if you're in the fight phase, you pick units that are engagement range, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, but this works in shooting.
Yeah, it works in both.
Yeah, so you don't have to pick engagement range units for a shooting phase.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
No, it's just a change for the fight phase part.
Gotcha.
But still, quite useful. It's 2 CP, but a battle tactic.
Yeah.
But although since it targets 2 units, it'll never be made free. Still quite valuable. Next up, we have Primed and Readied. This is a shooting or fight phase battle tactic for 1 CP. This is very simple. You get critical 5s.
That's great.
Yep.
Remember how we talked about reroll hits, sustained hits, lethal hits, just crit 5s, something dies.
Yeah, that is going to be a dramatic increase to the firepower of whatever unit you're using. especially if you use it on the unit that has lethal and sustained.
Yeah, your Genestealer Cult didn't really have an issue killing certain things. Now they will do it laughably easily.
Yes.
Which I love. Who doesn't love surprise death?
Absolutely. Next up is Tunnel Crawlers, a 1 CP strategic ploy. And this is in your movement phase when you arrive using the Deep Strike rule. You can be set up horizontally 6 inches away from all enemy units, or more than 3 inches away if you are battle line.
Okay, so then it's a nerf to the 3-inch away strat because it can't be used on anything. But battle line units were the ones that really want to be 3 inches away anyway. So functionally the same thing, more or less.
A minor nerf in that it doesn't affect like metamorphs and bikes and aberrants the same way. But for the units who are using it, it's the same.
Yeah, so whatever.
And as before, you can't charge if you use it.
We will take the mild, inconsequential nerfs with the massive buffs. That's the kinds of trades we're looking for.
Well, there's more stratagem still.
Oh.
Next, we have lying in wait. In your opponent's movement phase, you pick a Genestealer Cult battle line unit from your army that's in Cold Ambush. When setting your unit up using a Cold Ambush marker, you set your unit up anywhere on the battlefield wholly within 6 inches of that Cold Ambush marker and not within engagement range of one or more enemy units. So normally it's wholly within 3. It's 1 CP to set up wholly within 6.
Well, not only that, John, it's 1 CP to do it irrespective of the distance between you and the enemy. Because normally it's 9 inches away, and now I can just show 3 inches away functionally.
Yep. Now, to be clear, of course, you do have to still be, the marker has to be more than 9 inches away from the enemy, otherwise it wouldn't be there.
Right.
But it does let you set up closer to these things if they are outside of 9.
Yes. Now, I don't know how many times you'll want to make use of that, but it is a nice option to have.
Yep. And then Return to the Shadows. This is an old classic for Genestealer Cult. In your opponent's shooting phase, after an enemy unit has shot, 1 Genestealer Cult infantry unit from your army that was selected as the target of one or more of those attacking units goes into strategic reserves.
Okay, so after getting shot, you just go, all right, I didn't like that, and then go up into reserve.
Exactly.
That's a great strat. That's a really great strat.
Yeah.
There are a lot of times where someone doesn't have the kind of firepower to one-shot a 20-man neophyte unit, but they will chip it away to pieces given enough activations. So being able to just like take your neophytes or whatever and just not get shot at after the first unit's done is really, really strong.
Absolutely.
And not only that, but like if your opponent just wants to like accidental rhino, shoot the storm bolter, like poof, I'm out of here. It's really nice.
And then finally, we have a Deadly Snare. In your opponent's charge phase, after an enemy unit declares a charge, you pick 1 Genestealer Cult infantry unit that was selected as a target of that charge, and you roll a dice. On a 2 through 4, they suffer D3 mortal wounds. On a 5+, they suffer flat 3 mortal wounds.
Okay.
So just a little quick, here's a couple mortals when you try to charge me.
I do love that. Genestealer Cult love a little sneaky mortal. Throw a grenade or attempt a saboteur here and there, and now we're doing mortals.
Absolutely. So those are the 6 stratagems. Notably, there are a couple that are missing from the index.
Yeah, where is my go back into reserve strat?
It's when you get shot.
But I want to be able to control that.
You cannot.
And I want to use it against world eaters.
Then they will not fire their bolt pistols at you.
So I cannot.
Then they cannot.
Oh no. All right, folks, this is a bit of a departure in terms of what the detachment and how it played used to be. It used to be every turn you were cycling 2 units realistically up into reserve and just keeping the momentum going. Now your opponent has full say on whether or not you can and cannot go into reserves, and that's not awesome. But the damage is awesome.
Well, notably, you're missing your +1 ballistic skill and AP strat.
Oh, I didn't even consider that. Yeah, that's also gone. That's also gone.
And also that lone operative strat.
That's also gone. The lone op one I can live without, but the +1 ballistic skill and +1 AP, we did talk about how they have a ballistic skill issue. I mean, there is awesome enhancements which help.
That will definitely help. And that 1 CP critical 5s, you're going to use that, and that's a battle tactic.
We're going to use that, push the button twice per turn.
As often as you can.
Boop,
but
boop, boop, boop,
here's a tricky thing. So you have to have a rule for critical 5s to do something.
Which only applies
on the turn you arrive.
When I only arrive probably once now.
If they only arrive once, it's a little harder.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers here. There really is. And another stealth nerf here is because of the way blips interact with going back up into reserves, a common tactic you could do was basically put your blip in the far corner of the board where your opponent will never get to it, spawn that unit at the appropriate time in your opponent's turn. At the end of their turn, set that unit up into the reserves, and then it comes back down the next turn and gets to work. But now if I'm putting it up in the middle of the back corner where it's safe, it's not going to go back into reserve.
It's not like you're putting las cannons back there.
No, I'm putting flamers and demo charges.
Yeah, and seismic cannons and some other 24-inch range weapons.
Yeah.
So I think that not being able to control what goes back into reserves is actually going to be quite a big deal for this detachment.
Man, I just baked that into my auto reflexes of what Genestealer Cult can do, but that's really gone.
That is really gone.
Oh boy. Oh no, my forearmed friends, what will we do over the other 4 detachments, folks?
Absolutely.
That's what
So
we'll do.
interesting changes on this one. Definitely, you're gonna feel some of the lost stratagems.
Yeah, you do things better, but you also don't have access to going up in reserves, and that can be devastating.
I could really see it.
Yeah.
Next up, we have the Xeno Creed Congregation. This is one of the ones I was very exciting about because it's reminiscent of the old Pauper Princes, which is one of my favorite ways to play Genestealer Cult back in like 8th. So, unquestioning fanaticism. For each Acolyte Hybrid, Hybrid Metamorph, and Neophyte Hybrid unit from your army, while one or more characters are leading that unit, you can reroll advance and charge rolls made for it.
Okay.
In addition, if that character model is a Magus, Primus, or Icon Ward, that model has the Feel No Pain 3+ ability while leading the unit.
Helps for precision attacks, which is
Helps
nice.
versus precision, yeah. Oh, speaking of precision, the Stratagem to pass off your wounds is also gone.
Oh, yeah, that one, that's gone.
Yep.
That's fine.
But yeah, I think that's fine. So back up to this detachment. So reroll advances and charges while you have a character, essentially. Mm-hmm. Okay? Hopefully, there's some more reason to advance coming up, right? You would think.
I would only assume this detachment has advance and charge access, otherwise what are we doing here?
Yeah, you'd be correct.
Okay.
Let's go into the enhancements. First is the Genesire's Reliquant. A Magus, Primus, or Icon Ward only. You can reroll Battle Shock tests for that bearer's unit.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah,
Hope it's cheap,
why not?
but it's fine. The next, this is my favorite name of the codex so far.
What's the
I
name?
like to track this. The Denunciator of Tyrants.
I don't know how to say that.
Denunciator.
Denunciator.
It's because you're denouncing them.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Screw the tyrants.
Magus, Primus, or Icon Ward only. Each time a model in the bear's unit makes an attack that targets a character unit, add 1 to the hit roll and the wound roll.
All right, folks, we've got a winner.
I like that
Remember,
already.
character units, they're everywhere, and now we don't like that. We want to denounce those tyrants.
Yeah, we really do.
Screw
we
those
will be.
tyrants.
We will
Yeah,
be denouncing
the hive
them.
tyrants.
Hang on,
specifically.
you will worship the Tyranids like you should. All right. Next up, deeds that speak to the masses. This guy's a storyteller.
I like that. That's a good name.
And again, Magus, Primus, Icon Ward only. Once per turn, when rolling for a battle line unit for the Cult Ambush Army rule, if the bearer is on the battlefield, you can re-roll the result.
Rerolling it is way better than +1, and I was waiting for that to say +1. That's a pleasant surprise.
and
That is
that's
good.
That's just 1 roll per turn while the bear is on the battlefield. So I would love to have someone carrying this, holding an objective behind a wall somewhere, because every time a battle line dies, you'll just reroll the first failed one each. Yep. And then finally, we have Incendiary Inspiration for a Magus Primus Icon Ward. The bearer's unit is eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced.
There it is, folks. That's then you reroll your advance roll, you reroll your charge roll, and now we have a combination there.
So now we've got 6 stratagems here. Some of these are quite interesting.
Strategemos.
So, Vengeance for the Martyr. In your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase, after an enemy unit destroys a Genestealer Cult character from your army, you can target one other Genestealer Cult character model from your army, and then, until the end of the battle, each time a Acolyte, Metamorph, or Neophyte unit makes an attack against that enemy unit, reroll a hit roll of 1.
Okay.
If the character destroyed was a Magus, Primus, Icon Ward, you can reroll the hit.
I'm sensing a theme.
Instead, yeah, this is, well, those are the leaders of the cult.
Yes, of course.
The human leaders of the cult. We all know the patriarchs in charge.
So, a nice reactive, like if you lose a character, and ideally it's a Magnus Primus or Icon Ward, which you are pretty incentivized to take for a variety of reasons, and they are made of paper, so they will die.
Yep.
Then your army well, your army of acolytes and neophytes and metamorphs can reroll hit rolls against them.
Considering those are the units that these characters can join, really feels like that's what
I feel like they're telling me to make my army out of these units.
They really are, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. This is a good stratagem. It's a little bit slow paced in that you don't just get the first hit off with reroll hits or anything, but you can set this up as the game gets going.
Absolutely. And we've got 1 CP battle tactic up next, Frenzied Devotion. 1 acolyte metamorph neophyte from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase. This is a fight phase stratagem. Until the end of the phase, improve the attacks and weapon skill of melee weapons equipped by models excluding characters in your unit by 1, and all melee weapons gain the hazardous ability.
I do love that.
I like that a lot.
That's awesome.
And you don't actually have to be led by a character. Just one of those 3 units, just 1 CP, plus 1 weapon skill attack.
Those are 2 stats where that really dramatically increases your math efficiency in a lot of places. And then hazardous is just thematic and fun for Genestealer Cults.
Yeah,
you lose a couple. I care if they die?
You lose a couple of acolytes, but let's be real here. You're not going to pick the acolytes with the combo weapons.
Yeah, and honestly, acolytes in combat are not pretending that they're going to survive and be a durable unit. That's not their thing.
That's not their thing. All right, 1 CP for Tireless Fervor. In your charge phase, 1 acolyte, metamorph, or neophyte unit from your army that has not declared a charge this phase. Until the end of the phase, your unit is eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced or fell back.
Yay! Advance and charge strat for the advance and charge detachment. Now I have to look up acolyte combat weapons and see how hard they can make these things.
They're completely different, so don't worry.
Okay, good. Yep. I want a brand new rework on Genestealer Cult combat.
It's a fresh take.
I love it.
And when doing so, if you target an enemy unit that is in engagement range of 1 or more friendly character units, you can reroll the charge roll. Yep.
Yeah, that's good.
And you could charge a character in first.
Reroll charges
if you have a character attached.
Okay.
So this just gives you more ways to support the characters.
Yeah.
Characters make everyone reroll charges no matter what. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, we like our characters.
I like it. All right, then we have 1 CP for Transcendent Celerity. That's a good name. In your shooting phase, 1 acolyte, metamorph, or neophyte unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot this phase. All ranged weapons equipped by models from your unit have the assault ability.
Advance and shoot. Hell of a roll.
Just 1 CP advance and shoot, or advance and deploy a teleport home or something.
Yeah, advance and push a button.
Yep. I like that. You can reroll advances on your neophytes, and now they can advance and shoot for CP.
That's great.
Ooh, 2 CP, but a good name. The Downtrodden Rise.
I don't know. I don't love that name.
Oh, I like that. At the end of the reinforcement step of your opponent's movement phase, if you have no cult ambush markers on the battlefield, you can pick 1 acolyte, metamorph, or neophyte unit that's in cult ambush, and you can set your unit up on the battlefield without using a cult ambush marker. When doing so, set your unit up anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inches horizontally away from all enemies, and not within your opponent's deployment zone, wholly within 9 of 1 or more battlefield edges.
So this is actually a great stratagem. This basically means you're not tethered to your blip. You can functionally rapid ingress with a dead unit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's a 2 CP rapid ingress, because it happens at the end of your opponent's movement phase.
Right.
But it's 1 CP for rapid ingress, and then it's 1 CP for, even though your blip is dead.
Yeah, that is awesome. Oh, you can lose the blip and do it. This is amazing.
That is very helpful.
That's a great rule. When you are losing games with Genestealer Cult and your opponent gets into your blip backfield and it just starts popping your reinforcements,
that's terrible.
It basically means you're done. You are out of a game. When you're out of army, you're out of game, and this means you're not out of army.
Yeah, that's a very useful strat. Finally, we have the Path of Anguish. In your opponent's shooting phase, after an enemy unit is shot, you pick 1 acolyte or neophyte, so not metamorph, unit from your army that had 1 or more of its models destroyed as a result of the attacking unit's attacks, and you can make a move of up to d6 inches, but it must end that move as close as possible to the closest enemy unit, and you could get an engagement range of that enemy unit when you do so. So it's 1 CP Blood Surge for acolytes and neophytes.
In the right scenario, that can end the shooting phase early, and that could be awesome.
Yeah, that could be very useful.
20 neophytes get up in your opponent's guts, and then they shoot a pistol at you, and all of a sudden you engage 3 tanks. That'd be awesome.
So this detachment as a whole very much is telling you what units to take. And you've got some cool tricks. You've got some situational rerolls. You've got the comeback. You've got the assault, the nice melee buff, and then the advance and charge. It kind of feels like it's more of a melee.
It does. I think that's okay. We're going to get to the data sheets and we're going to see what our melee looks like. I think Genestealer Cults have always had a little bit of identity issue because are they a melee army or are they a shooting army? They can't decide. And lately they've been deciding that it is a shooting army. But I would love to see the return of the melee friends.
Absolutely. But still, with that Good Frenzy Devotion and Tireless Fervor stratagems, you can really get some good value out of melee.
Yeah. Resurrecting units wherever you want, also very strong.
Yep. Yeah, I could see this being quite interesting. All right. On to the third one. This is the one I would say that I was the most excited about when the names of each were announced. This is the Biosanctic Brood Surge.
Okay, that's a cool name.
This is the one that is themed around, Aberrants and Pure Strains.
Oh, I love Aberrants and Pure Strains.
So do I.
John.
So, let's start off with the detachment roll. Add 1 to charge rolls made for Aberrants, Biophagus, and Pure Strain units from your army. In addition, each time a unit is selected to fight, if it made a charge move this turn, add 1 to the attack characteristic of melee weapons equipped by model's unit. So your Aberrants, Pure Strains, and Biophagus units also get that.
That is so good.
Yeah.
That is so good. Aberrants with 4 attacks, sign me up.
Yep.
Yeah, that is so good.
Uh-huh.
I don't like the way he says that.
I'm really excited about Pure Strains and Biophagus units.
That's good.
And Aberrants. I love Aberrants.
Okay. Yeah, me too.
So we've got the enhancements here, but that is no joke a great combat buff. +1 charge,
Yeah.
and then when you charge, +1 attack. That's awesome. It takes me back to the 7th edition when you charging just gave you an attack.
Yeah, no, it reminds me of all the previous editions of Warhammer, where +1 charge or +1 attack. This is just the charging detachment. They hit you in combat. We like it. It's good.
I like that. So next up, we've got the enhancements. Predatory Instincts for an Abominant, Biophagous, or Patriarch. Models in the Barris unit have the Infiltrator ability, and once per battle round, you can heroically intervene for 0 CP, even if you've already targeted a different unit with that charge in this phase.
That's a great enhancement.
Yeah, Infiltrate and 0 CP heroic is good.
They're both good rules independently. Put them together, it's even better.
Yep, and of course, this could be the Pure Strains or the Abominant, and Aberrants, or whatever you join a Biophagous to.
Which could be basically any unit.
Could be a lot of things.
Yeah, so...
And if you heroic, you are +1 to charge.
Oh, that's nice too.
And you'll be +1 attack on the heroic. Ooh. It's kind of cool.
That's cool. That is cool. I think, I don't know what Aberrant's data sheet looks like, but with my previous index concept of what these units do, I really like this detachment with Aberrants.
Absolutely. Next, we have Biomorph Adaptation, an Abominant or Patriarch model only. Improve the armor penetration and damage of melee weapons by 1. Great.
That's
awesome.
Of the dude or the unit?
The dude.
Okay, the dude. Still not bad. Like the Patriarch with this is...
Yeah, no, it's not.
Claws for days.
That was the unit.
John.
That's fake. Yeah. No, this is +1 AP and damage for the bearer's melee weapons.
Okay, yeah. Damage for, potentially, Patriarch claws. AP, awesome. AP just awesome.
Yeah, takes the Patriarch, I think, from AP2 damage 2 to AP3 damage 3. And I recall him being twin linked. I think he rerolls wounds. I'll have to check.
Yeah, I don't remember what the...
We'll find out when we get there.
Okay, we'll get there.
But definitely, that is a noticeable buff on anyone. They'll be happy with that.
That's awesome.
Mutagenic Regeneration. 1 Abominant, Biophagous, or Patriarch model only. In each command phase, 1 model in the bearer's unit regains 1 lost wound.
Okay, slow, not very effective, not 0 value, but I'm not excited about that.
Yeah, that's not thrilling. Because it's just 1 wound.
I am thrilled about the rest of them, though.
And then we have Alien Majesty. For an Abominant, Biophagous, or Patriarch model only, while an enemy unit is within engagement range of the bearer's unit, subtract 1 from the OC value of models in an enemy unit to a minimum of 1.
You ever played against AdMech before?
Yes.
It's really annoying.
It is. Now this is to a minimum of 1, and it is engagement range.
So, it's not AdMech, but that's okay.
But it's still good.
It's still good.
Yeah,
it's still
I'm
good.
happy with that.
I'm happy that this is there. You ever charge a tank and you want to contest it, this helps.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's quite strong. And now we've got 6 stratagems attachment.
Of course we do. Very exciting.
First, we have the Evasive Vanguard. And in any phase, after an enemy unit ends a move within 9 inches of 1 or more of your cult ambush markers, before you remove that marker from the battlefield, you target the stratagem on 1 pure strain unit in cult ambush.
Okay.
Then you select one of those cult ambush markers that they just moved within 9 of, and you move the cult ambush marker 6 inches. If it's still within 9 inches, it is still removed. But if not, then until the end of the battle, you can only select pure strains for that cult ambush marker. So basically, when your opponent gets within 9 of a marker, you call your shot and say, this is a pure strain only marker, and I'm going to move it 6 for CP.
The Genestealers just see what's going on above the sewer.
They just back up.
And they just take the whole sewer like it's our cartoon, just move it 6 inches.
Absolutely. You just draw the manhole somewhere else, and that's where they come out of.
Exactly. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I worry that this is a little bit niche because it only matters if you have used and lost a pure strain unit, and then your opponent gets within 9 of a blip.
But also not within 3.
But also then not within 3.
There's a lot of but also ifs with this one. I don't love it, but like whatever, it's fine. If you can pull off the dream team of like, I actually lost my pure strains and I want them to come out of the split, and the split mattered by moving 6 inches to keep it alive. There's pure strains now. That's awesome. That'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Now we have 1 CP for Saintly Paroxysm. In the fight phase, after an enemy unit destroys a Genestealer Cult character model from your army, that destroyed character gets charged by the Stratagem, and they do some mortals. Roll a dice, and on a 2+, the enemy unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. If the character in question was an Abominant or Patriarch, it's 2d3 mortals instead.
We do love Abominants. They, at least previously, had resurrecting themselves on their data sheet, and I love the idea of you killing an Abominant, taking 2d3 mortals, and then coming back to life.
That'd be pretty cool, yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
I'll have to see if that's still what it does, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Now we have 1 CP for Gene Twisted Muscle, a battle tactic. And in the fight phase, 1 Aberrant, Biophagous, or Pure Strain that has not been selected to fight this phase gains +1 to wound against monsters or vehicles.
Okay.
That's good.
That is good. Aberrants legitimately struggle killing tanks. Not badly, but like they don't just rip apart at night. And now they might.
Yeah, +1 to wound is very strong, especially considering you often are going to have +1 attack in this army.
Yeah.
Getting that together is really nice.
At that point, we're just furious charging out here.
Yeah, that's just good.
That's just good.
That's just good. Hypermetabolic Vigor is another battle tactic in the fight phase. 1 Aberrant, Biophagous, or Pure Strain from your army that has not been selected to fight. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes a Pylon or Consolidate move, it can move 6 inches instead of 3.
Now, I know that's a rule you love, John.
That is a rule I love. In addition, this is weird. Seriously. It does not need to end that move closer to the closest enemy model, provided it ends it as close as possible to the closest enemy unit.
That is weird.
That is weird. So the way that this practically works is that when you're chosen to pylon, you go 6 instead of 3. Great, that part's easy.
Yeah.
And you can, instead of doing the normal move towards the closest, you can move anywhere with that 6 inches that ends as close as possible to the closest enemy unit. What that basically means is if I'm going to move 6 and base you, I don't have to base the closest model. I can go 6 and base anyone, because I'm now as close as possible to the closest enemy unit, which is you.
So if I have like a unit's consolidating and one model in my unit is already in base contact with an enemy, the rest of my unit could go 6 inches towards the objective, far, far away, because I'm already as close as possible.
Nope, it is each model has to do it.
But
it means that model that's already in engagement range can move 6 inches and base a different model.
Yeah, okay. So, like, theoretically, if two models normally are in base contact with each other, they can't get closer to each other, so they can't really move on a consolidation. But this is equidistant.
If you're already based, you can't consolidate at all.
This is so confusing.
I agree.
Okay.
It's a 6-inch pylon consolidate that will occasionally let you tap a different part of the unit than you were already going to tap in case you're trying to involve a second unit or take an objective or something.
Okay.
It'll occasionally be useful. This is mostly just pylon consolidate 6.
I will stop reading it there and call that good for my knowledge.
There are too many hoops in that.
Yeah. It sounds like one of those strats where, like, if a good player could really make use of this. No,
you can.
A good player is still looking at this and being like,
so many hoops. So many hoops.
What is this?
All right. Stimulated Biosurge, another battle tactic. We've got a couple of these in here. 1 Aberrant, Biophagous, or Pure Strain that has not been declared a charge this phase. Until the end of the phase, each time your unit declares a charge, if the closest eligible enemy unit is selected as one of the targets of that charge, add 1 to the charge roll. For each selected target of that charge, to a maximum of +3. So what that means is when you declare your charge, if you declare a charge against the closest thing, +1. Then +1 for each other thing that you charge. So if I charge the closest enemy unit and it's a Rhino, +1. If I charge the closest enemy unit that's a Rhino and also a Scout Squad, +2. If I charge the closest Rhino and a Scout Squad and a Dreadnought, +3. And remember that the army is +1 to charge on some of these units already.
I like that I get all the bonuses to charges. I once again hate how many hoops I'm jumping through.
This is... Get ready for hoops. There are more hoops coming. This is hoops that attack the army.
I don't like... This isn't hoops.
There are hoops in Genestealer Cult. So you could get an aberrant squad out of reserves with +4 to charge.
That part is good.
Is cool.
That part is good.
If nothing else, I frankly just like 1 CP +1 to charge against the closest thing, and I'm already +1 to charge, so my aberrants get a 7 out of reserves.
That's fair point.
Still totally fine with me. And occasionally you'll go for a longer charge or you'll go for a multi-charge. I think charging 3 things is going to be my opponent goofed.
Or it's like a weird mid-game scenario, right? Where the game is just convoluted,
just gotten
messy.
weird. Yeah, and it could happen, and then you're just plus a lot. Go. And that is genuinely valuable. I think this is a cool strat. It's, again, a little bit weird and wordy.
My gripe is not about the power of these stratagems. Like, 6-inch consolidate is a good rule. +1 charge, sometimes more, is also a good rule. But my gripe is the extra paragraph of text defining about when and how and which Tuesday it's on. And, like, that part I could live without.
I promise this is about to be your least favorite stratagem for that.
All right, John, lay it on me.
Bio-Horror Revelation. At the start of your opponent's shooting phase, pick 1 aberrant, biophagus, or pure strain unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, each time an enemy unit within 9 inches of your unit is selected to shoot, it must take a leadership test, subtracting 1 from that result. If the test is failed, then until the end of the phase, each time a model in that enemy unit makes an attack that targets your unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll.
Okay.
So this is 1 CP at the start of a phase, 9-inch aura of take a leadership test at -1, and after all of that is when you check to see if they actually shot you. This could have been 1 CP -1 to hit in shooting.
John, I don't want this rule. I like it is objectively a fine rule.
It's a fine rule.
But like I just don't like it bothers me.
Does it bother you that you have to take the test at -1 if you're within 9, even if you're shooting something else? And if you pass or fail, nothing changes?
What? No, why is that?
You're only -1 to hit against the thing.
No, I know that's how that works. Just it breaks my brain.
This stratagem not just being 1 CP -1 to hit in shooting.
You know
because that wouldn't have been broken. Like there are 17 different. There's a core stratagem that does that. Like there's smoke. Like you couldn't just be -1 CP. You get stealthy.
No, this is
come on.
This is stealthy against
enemies within 9 that fail a leadership test at -1.
And choose to shoot back at you because they shoot somewhere else, then those guys aren't stealthy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, what is hoops? I am not in gym class. It is not 8th grade. I am not here for this.
There you go. Well, that's the end of the detachment. So as a whole, ignoring the hoops that are there for us to jump through anyways, at least you got a pretty good detachment roll, some very solid enhancements, and several stratagems that I quite like for the Biosanctic research.
I do think that the baseline +1 attack, +1 charge for aberrant pure strain models is a good enough detachment roll that I can live with the extra hoops that this detachment brings that I have to read and be aware of. With that said, the strats are fine. They're nothing exciting, but they're also nothing terrible. I think it's ultimately going to come down to what aberrants and pure strains do, along with what their datasheets cost, which of course, points, new codex.
Yep,
we're gonna have to just wait and see what it all shakes out to.
Absolutely. Well, we have detachment number 4 up next. This is the Outlander Claw.
The Outlander Claw. This is the bike one?
This is the bike one.
The bike one. The bike one has claws, and I like that.
Absolutely.
Ain't no
it's like the rusted claws.
This is good.
So we've got Rapid Takeover as the detachment roll. Double the OC characteristic of Genestealer Cults mounted and vehicle units from your army.
This is my kind of rule. We are fast, we are mission playing, and you are getting your objectives contested.
In addition, at the end of your command phase, if 1 or more Adelan Jackals are within range of an objective marker control, then it remains under your control even if you move away.
Sticky objectives for the bike OC army.
Yep, so bikes, sticky objectives, bikes and vehicles get double OC.
Double OC on a vehicle is also quite nice.
Yeah, it takes a lot of the transports to 4, and then the like maybe like Rock Rider to 6. Let's go through these enhancements. Serpentine Tactics. Genestealer Cult mounted model only. The bearer's unit is eligible to shoot in a turn in which it fell back. So fall back and shoot for a mounted unit.
That's a great rule. Bikes hate
Getting
stuck in
tagged.
close combat.
They really do. Next is Cartographic Data Leech. Good name. While the bearer is embarked within a transport, each time the transport is selected to shoot, improve the ballistic skill characteristic of ranged weapons equipped by the transport as a result of the firing deck ability by 1.
Okay.
So specifically, while you're in a boat and you shoot out the top, +1 to hit with the things inside.
So my demolition charge acolytes shooting out of my Goliath truck could mess you up with +1 to hit pretty bad.
That'll be +1 ballistic skill to all weapons you fire out the top.
That sounds like it works, folks. We're gonna
There you
throw those demo charges.
Absolutely. Next, we have Starfall Shells for a mounted unit only. In your shooting phase, after the bearer is shot, select one enemy unit hit by one or more of the attacks made with a Colt sniper rifle. And until the start of your next shooting phase, each time a model in that enemy unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. So your mounted girl shoots a sniper rifle. If it hits, that unit is -1 to hit until your next shooting phase.
Okay. I mean,
Solid.
just shoot -1 to hit onto a target. That's awesome.
Yep, that's really
that's a
solid.
good roll.
It's not an infantry hit. It's not
I
a
think the sniper
non-primer.
Jackal Alphys hits on 2s. She might hit on 3s, but if,
I think it was 2s.
Yeah.
But we'll be able to double check
it,
that.
Yeah.
Finally, we have Assault Commando. Each time a model in the bearer's unit makes a ranged attack, if it disembarks from a transport this turn, you can reroll the hit roll.
Can I just say that I love what this detachment is trying to do?
I also love what it's trying to do.
I really love that.
Yeah.
Like, it's making bikes and vehicles better. It benefits guys from being inside and getting
Absolutely.
out. Like, this is a cool detachment,
So basically, it gives the Primus rule when you disembark from a transport.
which I love.
Yeah,
That's great.
you're going to run out of Primuses after 3.
Yeah, you can't take more than 3 Primuses. And,
That's how it
and,
works.
Yeah, that's the rules sometimes limit you.
And now we're on to the stratagems. Next up is Along Shadowed Trails. Any phase, after an enemy unit ends a move within 9 inches of one or more of your cult ambush markers. It's another one of these. You target one Adelan Jackal unit from your army
Does
in
it
cult
have to
ambush.
go on a bike ride on Sunday afternoon to accomplish its task?
No, select one of those cult ambush markers, set that cult ambush marker anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inches away from all enemy units and wholly within 6 inches of a battlefield edge. Until the end of the battle, you can only select Adelan Jackal units to set up using that cult ambush marker.
Okay, so it is the same exact strat as the Pure Stream
Yeah,
one, just
it's-
for bikes, and the bikes go further.
Yeah.
All right. All
right.
all right. All
So
right.
this only matters if you lose a bike squad and then someone pops a blip. But once you get through those hoops, this is then nice to save the unit for a CP.
That's true, and saving bikes is like a legitimate thing I care about.
Yeah, those are
Good.
those
good
are
blips.
traditionally expensive units.
Yes.
All right. We have the Devoted Crew. This is a battle tactic, although it's not that part's not going to matter. In your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase after they've selected a target, one Goliath Rock Grinder Goliath truck that got targeted, -1 damage.
I do like a minus.
I
one
like a
damage
-1 damage, 1 CP, just a reactive.
Yeah. Oh, the 8-pounder hitting me. Oh no, it's damage 2. It's damage 1. I'm fine.
Yep, just one of those things.
just nice.
It's a nice. That's a perfectly good rule.
I like that. Good job. Good job. And that's not even stupidly conditional.
Nope, it's just
We
when they
need more
attack
of
you.
those, and we like those.
It appears to work 7 days a week, regardless of the outside temperature.
Okay. That's exciting stuff right there.
All right, now we have Close Range Shootout. 1 CP in your shooting phase, one mounted or vehicle that has not been selected to shoot this phase, gains lethal hits when targeting an enemy within 18.
Okay, I mean, lethal hits for a whole bike unit could add up pretty nicely on CP. It's
Yeah.
pretty nice. I mean, any
I guess.
singular vehicle is not really going to make great use out of this.
Yeah. It kills me that the bike weapons are range 12. This is an 18-inch
Look,
stratagem.
this-
I don't know why that limit's there.
this ain't no Sisters Codex, but at the same time, I'm glad we got it.
Yep. Still good 1 CP, lethal, still useful.
Yeah.
And on to the next, we have a Rapid Feint. In your opponent's movement phase, after an enemy unit ends a normal advanced fallback move, pick a Ridgerunner or Adelan Jackal, Ridgerunners, within 9 inches of that enemy unit, and it makes a normal move of up to 6. So just a 6-inch reactive move on Adelan's Achilles Ridgerunners.
Can I just say that the difference in functionality and power between a D6-inch reactive move and a 6-inch reactive move
So much better.
is so much better.
So much better.
He's so much better. Like, I like this stratagem. But there are strats that I'm actually excited to use in this detachment.
Yep, that there makes me happy.
Yeah.
All right, now we have Deft Maneuvering. In your opponent's shooting phase, after an enemy unit has selected its target, a Adelan Jackal or Achilles Ridgerunner unit that was selected as the target gains a 4+ invulnerable save.
Okay, now we're
I
in
like
the money
that.
making strats,
Yep.
all right? Now, 4-up invul on these, like, 4-up armor save units, that is where it's at.
Yeah, 4-up invul reactively on an Adelan Jackal unit is quite helpful.
Yeah, that's good. That's like you take it, you spam it every turn kind of stratagem.
And then finally, we have Encircling the Prey.
You remember this one? Do you remember Encircle the Prey?
You mean the Tyranid rule?
The tiered rule that for high tyrants to go back in reserve?
I do remember that.
It's
this
mine now.
isn't that.
It better be that.
Okay. At the end of your opponent's fight phase, pick one mounted or vehicle unit from your army that is not in engagement range of an enemy and is wholly within 9 of a battlefield edge. Puts it into reserves.
Okay, similar idea. I would have still preferred that it turns my bike unit into a flyrant that then kills its target and then goes into
Basically
reserve.
the same thing.
But I will accept bikes going into reserves. That is also good.
Mm-hmm.
This is, so far, I think, my favorite detachment.
Yep.
This is solid. I like it.
Yep. Yeah, lots of fun movement tricks. I worry a little bit about the damage output.
You know I don't care about that.
Okay, well, there we go. Well, we have one more detachment left, Nick.
Yeah.
This is the Brood Brothers Auxilia. Now, you may have noticed in the army rule that I never said anything about ally and guard.
Interesting. So now there's a guard detachment?
Correct. You can
my
only use guard allies in this detachment.
That's pretty cool. I kind of like that.
I like that. I've actually had this secret pipe dream. James Workshop, if you watch this video, you can steal this ID for free. No problem. Where I actually want each Chaos God Legion book to get a Khorne Demonkin detachment. That's 1,000 points of demon allies and 1,000 points of war leaders, but do that 4 times in the 4 god books.
That would be really cool.
But that's what they've done here, and I actually really like this idea. So there's 2 detachment rules. The first is integrated tactics. Each time an Astra Militarum unit from your army, see below, that's what the second rule is going to be, is selected to shoot, select one enemy unit within 18 and visible to that unit. If you do so, until the end of the phase, that Astra Militarum unit can only target that enemy unit, but after it's done so, that enemy unit is caught in overlapping fire. While an enemy unit is caught in overlapping fire, each time a Genestealer Cult model from your army targets that enemy with a ranged attack, add 1 to the hit roll. So basically, every time you fire a guard unit, you can choose not to split fire. If so, pick the thing within 18 that you shot that you can see, and you give Genestealer Cult +1 to hit it in shooting.
Okay, so I can be like, my Hellhound shoots your thing, and then my entire Genestealer Cult army is going to just be +1 to hit against that thing.
Correct.
That is really good. Remember, Genestealer Cult have that bit of a ballistic skill problem. Guard will solve that apparently for us.
Apparently they shall.
Yeah, mortars a hoe.
Yar. Then we have the Brood Brothers rule. You can include Astra Militarum units in your army, even though they do not have the Genestealer Cult faction keyword. In Strike Force, you can include up to 1,000 points of Brood Brothers. So not 500, 1,000.
That's quite a lot of Brood Brothers.
It is quite a lot.
Yeah.
The rules are, no Astra Militarum models from your army can be your warlord. They lose the voice of command ability if they have it. You cannot include units with any of the following keywords: Aircraft, Commissar, Epic Hero, Militarum Tempestus, Ogren, Ratling, Engine Seer, Ministorm Priest.
So I can include Lehman Russes and Shadow Swords and Basilisks and Hellhounds and all of the good guard tanks.
Correct. Now, they may not have all of the rules you remember.
Right, because they're not.
Because they're never going to get orders or stratagems or the lethalants.
But if you're interested in the stat line that it's presenting, or if you're interested in just taking guard units to buff your Genestealer Cult units, like a cheapo 60-point guard unit, is not a bad OC2 unit to just give your army +1
it's really
to
not.
hit.
It's really not.
That's not bad. It's not bad.
All right, now we have the enhancements. First up is Martial Espionage. So, a Genestealer Cult unit, infantry only. Once per turn, when a friendly Astra Militarum infantry or mounted unit within 9 inches of the bearer is selected to shoot, use the enhancement. You increase the AP of those ranged weapons by 1. So, very simple. Just pick a nearby infantry unit, give it +1 AP
Okay.
when shooting.
This is you're buffing my Genestealer Cult guys or my guard guys?
Your Genestealer Cult infantry buffs an Astra Militarum infantry.
Okay. Are there good Astra Militarum infantry units to make use of that?
You would probably put it on a Khazarkan unit if anyone.
Just let them shoot.
Yeah, I mean, it's only shooting? No, it's until the end of the phase. Selected to shoot, yeah. So you can put it on Rough Riders, but it's only in shooting when they have last pistols. So I think you would do it in something else. Yeah, you could give 10 Khazarkan +1 AP.
Not very excited about that.
Nah, I don't care at all.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not that excited. Adaptive Reprisal. Once per turn, you can target a friendly Genestealer Cult unit within 9 inches of the bearer with the Heroic Intervention Stratagem for 0 CP. So your Genestealer Cult infantry this time gives a Genestealer Cult within 9, 0 CP heroic.
Okay, well, I do like a 0 CP heroic. I think that can always just mess up your opponent's plans. I think I'll probably pay for this relic if it's not too expensive and just use it as a utility choice.
Next, we have the Hero Returned. One Genestealer Cult infantry model improves the leadership and OC of the models in the bearer's unit by 1.
Now we are talking good rules here. I do love an OC3 unit of infantry.
As do I. That's quite powerful.
That's tough.
Finally, we have Fire Point Commander. Genestealer Cult infantry model only. Each time you target the bearer's unit with Fire Overwatch, you hit on a 5+.
All right. I mean, if you have a Primus in there and you're rerolling hits on 5s, that's actually quite credible amount of hits.
Yeah, really could be.
That is like not a bad stratagem at all. Or
Yep,
an
not a bad enhancement.
Yeah.
All right, and then we're on to the actual stuff.
Rules.
So, the stratagems. In the Shadow of Iron. Well, it's the first stratagem of the detachment, Nick, so what do you think it is?
If it's a Thursday afternoon, 3 p.m. Central Time, on the right side of daylight savings, and there has not been a hurricane sighting in the past 36 hours anywhere in the world, then a blip can move 6 inches if it contains a rock grinder.
Close.
That was close?
Yeah, when they get within 9 inches of a cult ambush marker, spend the CP and target an Astra Militarum vehicle from your army. You then pick up that blip that was destroyed, and you put it more than 9 inches from an enemy, wholly within 6 of
You
them.
put a Lehman Russ in your backfield, or like the Basilisk or something, and then you can move the blip there instead of just putting the blip there if an enemy was to blow up your blip on Thursday.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. We've got a new one here, and this one's interesting. 1 CP Regimental Reinforcements. In your opponent's shooting or fight phase, after an Astra Militarum infantry unit from your army is destroyed, excluding artillery and character units. You target that infantry unit even though it just died. Roll a d6. On a 3+, your unit is placed into Cult Ambush, and you can place a Cult Ambush marker anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inches horizontally away from all enemy units. That's it.
Is this any unit of Astra Militarum?
Infantry.
Okay, I was about to resurrect a Baneblade.
No.
That is where my head went. That would be
No, infantry.
cool. Infantry. So, like, fine, sure, why not? 3+ resurrection is good.
Yeah. It doesn't go into reserves, though. It goes into Cult Ambush. Which means, again, if I put it in my backfield,
It will live in your backfield.
then I have a Kazakhstan squad on my home objective again. which
Well,
I really could have just done.
It's like every other video game. You respawn on your home base.
Yeah. Then you gotta start walking out again.
Just get the march going.
When you're winning the fight, you die and you go back to home base, you're like, wow, it's gonna take me 2 minutes to walk back to where I can shoot someone.
Yeah. Well,
That is exactly how this is gonna go.
That's how this feels.
Yep. It's a cool strat. 1 CP, a 3-up, get a Kazakhstan squad back, because that's realistically who you would use it on.
Yeah.
Because it's for 1 infantry regiment unit.
I will say, with Genestealer Cult, and maybe not with this style of detachment whatsoever, but typically you do end up base trading with your opponent somewhat often. And if you do base trade with your opponent, or like they're encroaching upon your base, that's where resurrecting 10 Kazakhstan might be able to help fend it off.
And if you have some of if there are still mechanics in some of these datasheets that let you also reactively move blips when they get touched, it might be useful to just like put a Kazakhstan squad blip somewhat aggressively, and then when your opponent messes with it, it like bounces back and they're like, aha, you moved forward, now the Kazakhstan are back behind a wall, they'll appear there in the movement phase, then in my turn they walk forward during rapid fire range, drop a melt mine and do the things. I still think this is actually pretty good.
Really? I was going to say, don't let us mislead you. This thing is, like, we're finding reasons to use it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm reading ahead to the other stratagems. I like this one.
Okay, let's go to the next strat then.
Cool. Suppress and overwhelm. In your shooting phase, after an Astra Militarum unit from your army has shot, that Astra Militarum unit selects an enemy hit by one or more of those attacks. That enemy unit cannot be targeted with Fire Overwatch, and you can reroll charges against it with Genestealer Cults.
Okay, I like turning off Overwatch.
I hate that it's in the shooting phase.
Yeah, it's a weird time.
because they can just do it in the movement phase.
Yeah, they would have already overwatched me if they were aware the strat exists, which they should, because we're sportsmen out here and we tell them our rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say that it's a bad rule, but it is not my favorite timing, which can make it a little useless.
Yeah. Next, we have 2 command point acceptable losses.
I like the name. I think the name indicates where we're going with it.
Yes. You target 1 Astra Militarum unit from your army. Then you select 1 enemy unit with an engagement range of 1 or more Genestealer Cult units from your army.
Somewhere else.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah,
Okay.
just anywhere.
anywhere,
Until the end of the phase, your unit can make range attacks that target that enemy unit. If it does so, after it has resolved those attacks, roll a d6 for each of those Genestealer Cult units that's in engagement range of the enemy. On a 5+, they take d3 plus 1 mortal wounds.
Okay, so if you have the Great Wall of Neophytes glomming up some unit
Mm-hmm.
in close combat, your guard unit can just shoot into that combat instead of having you fall back. And then you might take mortals for your troubles.
Yes, and it's 2 CP.
Why?
I don't like this at 2 CP at all.
This is niche on a 1 CP strat. This is I'm not using it as a 2 CP strat.
I agree.
Oh, my forearm friends.
Then we have Symbiotic Destruction. This is a battle tactic, but that's not helpful. Okay, so in your shooting phase, pick 1 Astra Militarum and 1 Genestealer Cult unit from your army that have not been selected to shoot this phase. Those 2 enemy units must both be in visible of the selected enemy unit, and they have to be in range of at least 1 weapon. So basically, you pick an Astra Militarum and a Genestealer Cult unit, and it targets an enemy unit that is in range and line of sight of both of those units to shoot it. Those 2 friendly units can only target that enemy unit for the rest of the phase, but when they do so, they reroll a wound roll of a 1.
You really have been talking for like 35 seconds to tell me reroll 1s to wound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many hoops there were. T's and C's, baby. Those are tanks and commanders.
Okay.
Terms and conditions.
Oh boy. Wow.
So yeah, 1 CP give a guard and GSE unit reroll 1s to wound against an enemy unit.
Okay.
Look, I would
the
honestly.
effect is good. The
Yeah,
effect
I
is
would
good.
honestly be okay with that.
No, you should. This is genuinely a good strat. Reroll 1s to wound is a great rule, and you're putting it on 2 squads for the
Yeah,
price.
you put it on a tank like a weekend.
Yeah, right. And like you're wounding on 3s, you get good return on investment on rerolling 1s on when you're wounding on 3s. It's good stuff. I just hate that it took us a paragraph to get there.
Yeah, same. We have 1 more stratagem, and this is a dark network. This is so weird. It's kind of cool though.
Okay, better be cool.
So in the reinforcement step of your opponent's movement phase, after they set up a unit on the battlefield from reserves, you pick 1 Astra Militarum or GSC unit from your army, excluding monsters and vehicles. I don't even know what the monster would be. Within 12 of that unit. Mm-hmm. You can then make a normal move of up to 6.
Okay.
So if someone deep strikes within 12 of you, make a 6 inch normal move.
So it's a reactive move from against deep strikes, basically.
Yes.
That is a cool.
It's kind of cool.
That is a cool rule. I actually think that's quite good. Like against someone who's like trying to do a deep strike charge onto you, just walk
Just
away.
back up, yeah.
Someone like Inceptors who love to like show up right at the perfect line of sight angle to blast your home field, just walk to the other side of the wall.
Yep. This is a cool
That is a
strategy.
nice strategy.
And it's any unit except vehicles.
Right. The fact that it works on both halves of this faction, the Genestealer Cults and the Guard, I think also
Yeah.
goes a long way.
Yeah, because you're taking a lot of non-vehicles in here.
Yeah, I mean, you're taking some. Genestealer Cult is not thriving off of
Yeah.
the vehicle keyword.
Notably, this is the only stratagem that does not require you to have an Astra Militarum unit.
I genuinely love a 6 inch reactive move.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's quite good.
Yep. It's weird timing.
I'll take it.
So let's look at this detachment as a whole.
Okay, so +1 to hit for your Genestealer Cult army is good.
Yeah. What units am I using that on?
You're going to use it on Neophytes, you're going to use it on Acolytes. They like +1 to hit.
It's only in shooting. Would I
shoot.
not rather have sustained hits and ignore cover?
Well, you would, but you only get sustained hits and ignores cover for 1 turn now, John, because your army doesn't just go up and down. So we're going to have to make things do.
That's true. I'm a little worried that if you don't take those 1,000 points of Astra Militarum units, then none of these stratagems matter.
Look, I don't love this detachment. Frankly, I'm not even that excited to play it. I am excited to play the bikey, shooty, tanky one. I think
Yeah.
that's very fun and exciting. I also do like the +1 to charging, smashing for
Look.
attack aberrants.
Look, Nick, you've known me for a long time.
I have.
You probably are aware of my journey as a player.
Yes.
I started as a Tyranid player. I then grew into Genestealer Cult, and I used that as an excuse to buy a guard army.
Right.
And those were my first 3 armies in that order. So when I think of, GSC and guard, I'm like, that's awesome.
Right.
Those are 2 of my armies that
You
I
should
like
be
had
really
for a
excited,
while.
yeah.
Like that was the whole thing. That's why I bought a guard army, was just that I could use the models of my GSC army.
Yeah.
Because that used to be like just free.
I remember the vultures.
Yeah, you do. I struggle with reasons to take this detachment other than I already painted some guard tanks with GSE logos on them.
Let me put it this way. We're not analyzing this from the view of a competitive player. I don't think this is the strongest detachment. I don't even think it's a good detachment, bluntly. I think it is okay, and it's got some stuff that it's doing. But they could have very easily just done away with the idea that Guard and Genestealer Cult can play together.
Yeah.
And they did not do that.
They did not. I'm glad that they have the rules. This detachment makes me sad.
Look, yeah, the fact that everything has to be on a Tuesday if it's sunny out, but not too sunny out, and then if it's a blip, then sometimes if it's the specific unit in the blip, it can move. I hate all of that. I can't even recite to you the words that it's making me say.
There's a lot of them.
But with that said, I am very eager to see these data sheets, and I'm hoping we saw some improvement on that front. I'm really excited to see what the new points will bring, because of course, as we've seen, I feel as though this Genestealer Cult army we have today, previous to this review, is pointed as though it is going to come back to life and deep strike bombs 3 inches away and blow your face up turn after turn after turn.
Yep. Which it wants to do. So
Yes.
you do have to price it that way.
Yeah.
But I think with the new detachments, and then specifically with the index detachment changing so substantially, it feels like that's no longer what Genestealer Cult are doing, and maybe you don't have to price it that way.
Right.
But we don't know yet what the points are going to be for this. We haven't seen them. We have, unfortunately, no knowledge yet of what the final MFM is going to look like.
Right.
But we do have the data sheets, and so we'll be looking through them.
Right. Looking at it, just, to jump on that point a little longer, like 180 points for neophytes, 170 points for acolytes. These are toughness 3 guardsmen that just have very expensive weapons that are shooting you from 3 inches away repetitively. If we're going to knock that concept to its core, which is what redoing the index detachment has done, then I think the model itself has to be reevaluated. So if all of a sudden, instead of 180 points for neophytes, we're back to 120, it's a whole different army.
Yeah, well, both of those units received rules changes as well as data sheet changes.
Okay.
So we'll have a lot to reconsider.
A lot of variables going on.
Absolutely.
At once. Yeah, so let's just get into it and get the full picture.
So let's just start from the top down, starting at the top. We've got the Patriarch. Of course, if you take him, he has to be a warlord. His profile to me looks mostly the same. He has 5 attacks at 622, weapon skill 2, dev wounds twin linked. He is still a 6 wound T5 4-up invuln, totally not a brood lord.
Yeah.
Still doing that thing. He still infiltrates, and his unit has might from beyond, and that means that while he's leading a unit, they get devastating wounds. Of course, he can only lead pure strengths. And at the start of the fight phase, if you're within 6 inches of him, you take a battle shock test. Once per game, he pops his familiar, and then it's a 12-inch aura of take a battle shock test.
So he seems exactly the same.
I believe he's exactly the same.
Okay, so can we just go back to his weapons real quick? He's twin linked, you said?
Yeah.
And he's 6
5 attacks, weapon skill 2.
Okay.
622 twin linked dev wounds.
So that's strength 6, AP 2, and 2 damage, just shorthand.
So if you were to take that enhancement, it would be strength 6, AP 3, damage 3.
And now that is quite nice.
And it would be 6 attacks on the charge.
Those choppy claws.
That is going to...
If you're playing the aberrant detachment, you're taking this man.
Not even a question.
Not even a question.
Not even a
Give him that
question.
enhancement, let him rip.
Next up, we have the Pure Strain Genestealers.
Ooh.
So, they are, again, I believe the same profile as before. They are 8-inch moving, 2 wound, T4, 5-up invuln, OC1, leadership 7, and they have 4 attacks at weapon skill 2, strength 4, AP 2, damage 1. They still have infiltrate, and they are still eligible to advance and charge.
Yeah, same.
I think that is the same song or dance. But, again, in specifically that detachment, I like that a lot. +1 to charge.
I think that goes a long way.
Goes a long way, and then also...
+1 attack helps
goes a long way.
Yeah, with
And
dev wounds, it will add
And occasionally
fast.
getting a +1 to wound can be really helpful. All right, now we have the Primus.
This is your Mac Daddy bread and butter character.
Absolutely. He is still a 4-wound character with a 5-up invuln who's T3 and leadership 6. He still has a 5-attack, damage 1 bone sword. I think that's all the same. And his rules, I believe, are still the same as well. So while this model is leading a unit, you can reroll the hit roll.
Yep.
Great. Just a great character.
I'm glad that has not changed.
Absolutely. Then, if your army includes 1 or more models with this ability, after both players have deployed, you can redeploy 3 Genestealer Cult units from your army, including putting them into strategic reserves.
Okay, so yeah, same exact character data sheet there. You will take at least 1. You will probably take 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's how that works. Next, we have the Magus. A data sheet I really want to love, but in the index was a little bit subpar.
I meme the Magus for being like a terrible, terrible character that is meme worthy. Hopefully she's not anymore.
She still does not have a ranged attack other than the auto pistol. So she
doesn't need one.
Still doesn't have a brain blast the way that every other Psyker character does.
Look, she is cool, but she's not that cool.
She's still a 4-wound character with a 5-up invuln, and her rule is that once per battle, at the start of any phase, you pick a Genestealer Cult unit that is battle shocked within 12, and it's no longer battle shocked.
That is nice.
That I think is new.
That is new.
And then, at the start of your opponent's shooting phase, one Psyker model with this ability can use it. Select an enemy unit within 18 of the Psyker and roll a d6. On a 1, you take d3 mortals. On a 2 to 5, then they're -1 to hit. And on a 6, that enemy unit is -1 to hit and wound.
Okay. I mean, it's a good ability. I'm not going to knock that ability.
Yep.
She has to still
I
be
think
cheap
this
for me to
is-
consider.
I think this is slightly new. I think
This
it
is
used to be
pretty
on a
new,
6 you couldn't shoot. Now it's on a 6 you're -1 to hit and wound.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know what the range was before, but it is currently 18 inches and doesn't say visible.
To be honest, Sean, I frankly have no clue what the Magus did before. I don't really need to know. She was
I
bad.
think she used to be a 12-inch of this roll. Now it's an 18-inch and doesn't require line of sight. And of course, her Psychic Familiar is once per battle at the start of the opponent's shooting phase. When you use the Psychic Familiar, you add 6 inches to the range of mind control, so it goes from 18 to 24.
Okay,
But
well,
still, if
that's
it's just
a nice
to pick
range.
something, make it -1 to hit on a 2+, and you don't need to see it, that can be quite valuable.
That is much better, yeah.
All right, we have the new one. The Benefictus. This is the
I'm
brand
excited. New character, new model, new rules.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
So
read me
this
this
is,
stat
all right,
line.
T3, 5-up armor save, 5-up invuln, 3 wounds, leadership 7, OC1.
It's still
It's a 3
squishy little
wound,
Genestealer
squishy
Cult
character.
Yeah.
It has a close combo weapon, and it has a ranged weapon called Psionic Cascade.
Is it broken?
It is 18-inch range, 1 shot, ballistic skill 3, strength 12, AP 3, damage D6 +1, ignores cover and hazardous.
It's
al-
hilarious. That's awesome.
the second profile for it is the same thing, but hazardous. Instead of ignores cover and psychic, it's ignores cover, psychic, hazardous, and it's 2 shots.
Okay, so 1 shot, not hazardous, or 2 shots hazardous.
Yeah, it's 2 las cannon shots at 18-inch range, ballistic skill 3, ignores cover.
Brain Blast! There's your Magic's Brain Blast.
There's the Magic Brain Blast. That is kind of cool. We'll see what the cost is, because this very much is a thing that is cool to add until it costs too much, and then it's not.
I think I'd happily, comfortably, sort of be okay paying 40 points each for this.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Easily. Its special rule is while it's leading a unit, ranged weapons get lethal hits.
That's a really good roll. Now I would pay more than 40 points for this.
And once per battle, at the start of any phase, this model can use this ability. If it does until the end of the phase, this model has a 4-up invulnerable save.
That's pointless, but sure. I appreciate what they're
that
trying to do
rule-
a thing.
That feels like a typo. This model has a 5-up invuln. Once a game, your 3-wound character gains a +1 invuln for a phase.
I mean, it could
Your
mean to say
T3...
unit.
If it was unit, that would be...
If it was unit, that would be insane.
That would be good. That would be very
yeah,
good.
yeah,
and then I'd be willing to pay a lot more than 40.
Right. But like, I genuinely expect that to be a do nothing rule, not change,
That's fine.
and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's lethal hits and 2 las cannon shots into your unit.
Yeah. Lethal hits is a great rule. 2 last can shots out and gravy on top.
Yeah, now this is, it's a leader that can lead acolytes, hybrids, and neophytes. It doesn't have the leader exception.
Oh, it can't have 2
So
characters.
you can't
in it.
join this with a Primus.
That would have been the point where I get really excited about doing it.
Yeah, if you like were in a Primus and you got like critical 5s, reroll
Reroll
hits,
hits, lethal hits,
sustained in the
hits.
index attachment, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. That would be good.
All right, now we have the Sanctus. This is another 3-wound T3 character with a 5-up invuln. And it has a Cult Sniper Rifle that is 1 shot at strength 7, AP 2, damage 3, anti-psyker 2+, heavy, precision, and has ballistic skill 3.
So largely the same.
Yep. Or it has a Sanctus Biodagger, which is 6 attacks in melee at precision, anti-infantry 3+, weapon skill 2, 6 attacks, strength 3, AP 2, damage 2. Really wish that was strength greater than 3.
Yeah, the Sanctus, I don't even think I've tried a Sanctus in this edition. It's just been consistently not making the cut for me, and unless the special rules on Datasheet change, I don't think it will.
Yep. If this model is equipped with a Colt Sniper Rifle, once per turn when an enemy ends a normal move or whatever within 9 of it, it gets to make a 6-inch normal move. And you cannot fire Overwatch at this model if it's equipped with a Sanctus Biodagger. And then at the start of the first battle round, select an enemy unit to be the model's prey. When you attack your prey, you can reroll the hit roll and the wound roll.
Yeah.
It's a lone operative, it's stealthy, it infiltrates. If it's not expensive, it is just a lone op. Especially in a world where you can't use that strat anymore.
Yeah, assuming the Reductus Saboteur still is a better lone op than the Sanctus, I will just take the Reductus Saboteur and not take more than 3 lone ops. But with that said, it's not like useless. It's got good rules. It's just like redundant, perhaps.
And then we have the Nexus, who is still a 3 wound character with no stats to his name, who can join an Acolyte, Hybrid, or Neophyte, even if a Primus Magus or an Icon Ward is joined. And he does have his rules, which is why you took him before. Once per battle round, when you target the bearer's unit of the stratagem, reduce the CP cost of the use of that stratagem by 1 to a minimum of 0 CP.
Okay, so it's interesting that you can't use the same stratagem twice now. You're just getting a little bit cheaper on CP.
Yep.
CP stratagem you're using.
And it is a once per battle round, not turn.
I thought it was once per battle round before.
It was turn before. Remember how
Interesting.
annoying that was?
No, but sure.
Oh, it was the worst. But now it's battle round as it should be for what has always been a cheap character. And then, at the start of each player's command phase, select 1 cold ambush marker on the battlefield that has not been moved this turn and move it 6 inches.
Yeah, pretty much the same dude. I mean, technically worse, as you noted, the battle round versus turn difference, and also you can't double up on the same strat. I mean, I don't love that our characters are getting worse, not better.
Yeah.
That feels like the wrong direction to me.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe the data sheet units will actually give us some love. We got a few more characters to go through.
Absolutely. We have the Clamavus, who is once again a 3 wound nothing burger character who has an auto pistol and a close combat weapon. He joins units even if one of the big 3 characters is there. Joins the same units as all these other Neophyte type characters. In your command phase, 1 model from your army with this ability can use it. Select an enemy unit within 18. That enemy unit must take a battle shock test. So 1 Clamavus picks an enemy within 18 to take a battle shock test. I think that's new.
Yeah, I think that is new. It's also whatever, fine.
I like it. For
Does he still
primary
do the
control,
12-inch no deep strike aura?
still does that.
Okay, that's the part I took him for.
Yep. Yeah, still is a 12-inch aura of no reinforcements.
Yeah.
Protect your blips from getting people.
Protecting the blips holding the backfield is legitimately a job in Genestealer Cult.
Yeah, that really is. Yeah, so the 18-inch battle shock is cool. I really wish multiple Clamavus could do it multiple times. Because
Yeah.
like if you put 1 battle shock on something, trust me as the Tyrion player here, you don't know what's going to happen, and it's not a plan, it's just like a thing you do. But if you give the same unit several battle shock tests, they really could fail.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that. Now we have the Locust. The Locust is a T4 3 wound character with a 4-up invul.
Moving up in the world.
Moving up in the world. And is 5 attacks at weapon skill 2, strength 5, AP 2, damage 2. Joins the same 3 units, even if the same 3 characters are there. And has deep strike, fights first, and leader. While this model is leading a unit, models in that unit have fights first.
Okay, well,
That's kinda cool.
that's pretty much what he did before, but we love some fights first.
And while it's leading a unit, other characters in that unit have the Feel No Pain 4+ ability.
Yeah, so he can sneak up with like a Primus.
Yeah,
type
just makes the
person?
Primus hard to
Make the
precision
Primus get better. I mean, the units that
I feel like if you're precisioning out a Primus, a Feel No Pain is not stopping you.
Where I think this could have value is if you're putting this unit into an Acolyte unit or a Metamorph unit, and those actually have good data sheets for close combat now, and you put this into that the Not Popper Prince's Detachment.
Yeah. Fights first is generally a good rule, and he also is not a bad profile himself, especially like at weapon skill 2, 5 attacks, strength 5, AP 2, damage 2. That's perfect reasonable if you start adding some other rules to it.
Yeah.
All right, now we have the Reductus Saboteur. She is still a stealthy infiltrating lone op.
She's still bomb lady?
She is still a 3 wound character. She has a 5-up invul now. That might be new.
She's always had
Oh,
that.
she always did? Okay, cool. Well, she has a demo charge. Well, let's read the demo charge, shall we?
Oh boy.
6-inch range, 1 shot, D6 attacks, ballistic skill 3, strength 9, AP 2, damage 2. That's what it was before, right?
We lost 3 strength. We lost 3 shots.
Right.
Yeah, so D6 shots is not D6 plus 3. It's probably more fair and balanced this way, to be honest. D6 plus 3 was absurd. And strength 12 was absurd. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
strength 9, AP 2 damage, D6 shots is still a good gun. And for what a demo charge is, it's still better than I would expect.
Yeah.
I'm only sad because I'm comparing it to what it once was.
Yeah.
But with that said, if points do not drop substantially, this army is not good. But I have fully faith that the points could drop.
Absolutely. She's also equipped with remote explosives, which are blast and indirect fire. D6 plus 3 shots, ballistic skill 3, 24-inch range, strength 5, AP 0, damage 1. That part looks similar to what it was before.
Yeah.
She has primed and ready. In your shooting phase, you can select 1 model from your army with this ability as the target of the grenade stratagem for 0 CP, provided that model has not already been the target of that stratagem this phase. It's weird because it doesn't even let you use it again, but then gives you the caveat that you can't use it again. but
Well,
all stratagems have that limit, so that's... Okay. Anyways, 0 CP when you use grenade on her.
right. That's nice.
Planted explosives. Once per battle, when an enemy unit ends a normal, advance, or fallback move within 9 inches of this model, it can use its Reductus Mine. If it does so, roll a d6 on a 2+, the enemy suffers d3 plus 3 mortal wounds. Only one model from your army with this ability can use it in the same battle round.
So pretty much the same as before. But it's 9 inches, not
instead of
12 inches.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit anti-synergistic because she was always a lone op, and that allows it to be like if you want to shoot her or charge her, you do get within 12, you do get bombed. Now you have this 3-inch grace period where you could theoretically shoot her or charge her. I'm not sure how much that will practically matter. People oftentimes want to get close to get to an objective or something.
Yeah.
But
it's annoying.
it is strictly worse, right? Our demo charges are worse, and I think that will probably indicate what the demo charges are on the Acolyte data sheet and so on and so forth. And then, yeah, I'm just sad about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're on to the Biophagus. Spoiler alert, this is another T3 infantry model with a 5-up armor save. No invul on him. He, however, has chemical vials, a one-shot gun that is 6 inches, ballistic skill 3, strength 1, AP 1, damage 2, anti-infantry 2+. Just throws the glass bottle at you. He has the injector goad, which is the same one-attack weapon as before, and he has these abilities. He has Twisted Science. While he's leading a unit, melee weapons get lethal hits.
Okay.
Same as before. And once per battle, it uses its ability, Biological Warfare, if it does improve the attack and damage of its injector goad by 3, which takes it to 4 attacks, weapon skill 3, strength 2, AP 0, damage D3, in this case D3 plus 3, but it's anti-infantry 2+, but still AP 0. Now, the Alchemicus Familiar was a big appeal of the Biophages before. What it does now is once per battle when the bear's unit is selected to fight, it can use the Alchemicus Familiar. Until the end of the phase, you are +1 to wound against infantry.
Okay. Still, against infantry is a little bit of a caveat, but back then it only helped against infantry the same way.
Yeah, because it's anti-infantry 2+.
Anti-infantry 2+. Now you're strength 8 with aberrants, presumably. So you were probably wounding most infantry on 3s and then would be 2s. And now you're wounding most infantry on +1, which was probably 2s. We shall see if that's different. John keeps making faces, but it's not like really a nerf or a buff. It's kind of like the same.
It's never a buff.
Yeah, it can't be
never a buff.
It's technically worse, but like in a what I assume to be not meaningful way.
Where I see this as a big deal is that on aberrants, it often won't matter because most infantry are kind of wound on 2s and use it anyways.
Yeah.
However, 1, if your opponent is a -1 to wound, it doesn't get around that anymore.
Right.
2, if you join it to something besides an aberrant. Because we saw that in the other detachment, Biophagus units get these rules.
And they really want to join acolytes and things too.
Yeah, to give those rules to them. And then a +1 to wound is not the same as anti-infantry 2+.
That's true. That is really true. Because even if you're taking the unit for like their heavy rock saws or whatever, the cult knives.
I kind of wish this had just not been against non-vehicle.
It's always been like that. You know?
But like, yeah.
It's a biological warfare weapon. It's a biophagus.
I just wish it worked against like mounted
phagus.
and beasts and
it should work on
monsters.
It should work on a beast.
Yeah, it should work on a beast.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Nick, we're up to the Kellermorph. This is one of your old favorites. Exactly. We have yet another 3-wound infantry, this one with a 5-up invul. And with Liberator auto stubs, it is 6 shots at ballistic skill 2, strength 6, AP 2, damage 1, devastating wounds pistol, and it's only 12-inch range.
Okay, damage 1 always lets me down here, but strength 6, AP 2 is a good stat line.
Yep. I missed the days when this was precision.
Yeah, 6 shots, dev wounds, can't complain about that.
Once per turn, after a model with this ability has shot, select 1 infantry unit hit by 1 or more of these attacks, and that unit must take a battle shock test.
All right, not my favorite rule. I mean, I love my battle shock test, but this is not a battle shock faction. You know, there's not much value to battle shock in your opponent.
And then, once per turn, in your opponent's movement phase, when an enemy unit ends a normal advance or fallback move within 12 of this model, if it's not in engagement range, it can shoot at that unit as if it were your shooting phase, and then make a normal move of up to d6 inches, although it cannot use that to get into a transport.
Okay, that's quite good.
12 inches for the reactive move on a load up is incredible.
12-inch reactive move on a loan up and shoot you on the way out.
That's very cool.
That's really cool.
I actually quite like this.
The Kellermorph is a good unit now. That's
that's enough to make it interesting.
I'm probably going to run some Kellermorphage.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's weird is that 3 Kellermorphs can do the reactive move 3 times, but only 1 can cause a battle shock test when they shoot you.
Well, we knew
I feel
it
like they really missed which of these abilities was the good one.
That doesn't matter.
That's quite cool, though. I like that a lot.
Let him keep missing on that one.
I like that a lot for the Kellermorph.
Kellermorph. I'm glad he got a glow up. The Kellermorph is such an iconic unit. Perhaps not as iconic as the Icon Ward, though.
That's who's up next. Next, we have the Acolyte Icon Ward, the last character, I believe, in this book. So this is a T4 3-wound character with no invuln save, because these are the only distinctions. It has the normal Acolyte melee attack, the Cult Claws, which is 4 attacks at weapon skill 3, strength 4, AP 1, damage 1, and an auto pistol. It leads the same units, Acolytes, Hybrids, and Metamorphs that you'd expect. And it has Scout 6 inches, Deep Strike, and Leader. It is the Nexus of Devotion. While it's leading a unit, models in that unit have the 5-up Feel No Pain ability. If the unit is a Hybrid Metamorph instead, it has a 4-up Feel No Pain.
Okay. 5 Feel No Pain has always been there, and it's been fine, but Genestealer Cults aren't the durable
Yeah, on
faction.
1-wound units.
Yeah. But 4 Feel No Pain on Metamorphs is actually quite a decent durability buff.
Yeah, that's quite nice.
You're quite tough now.
And then, Summon the Cult. Once per battle, when you have to remove a cult damage marker because your opponent has moved too close to it, if one or more models from your army with this ability are on the battlefield, use this ability. If you do so, instead of removing that marker, place it anywhere on the battlefield within 12 inches of a model with this ability, more than 9 inches away from all enemy units. If not possible, then you don't use this ability and the marker is removed.
Same exact thing as before, pretty much.
I really wish 3 Icon Awards let you do this 3 times.
I still like that, you probably will want to take an Icon Award, especially if you're taking a detachment that buffs Metamorphs in close combat or something. And then you'll get the ancillary buff of moving blips around, which is non-conditional. I mean, they still got conditions, it's Genestealer Cult, but it's not as conditional as your stratagems.
Absolutely. We are now on to the data sheets. We haven't entirely
We've been on the data sheets.
done the units,
Except
not
for,
characters.
We're still one more character to go. You missed one.
What did I miss?
The Jackal Alphas.
Oh, I guess then they must be later.
Now he must be later.
Must be later. So here we have a non-character datasheet. Acolyte hybrids with hand flamers.
Ah, so
This is a new,
separated out the hand
separate
flamers.
detachment,
Okay.
or separate datasheet. So their rule is each time a model of this unit makes an attack, reroll a wound roll of 1. If the target of that attack is an enemy within range of an objective marker, reroll the wound roll.
Flamers with reroll wounds. Anybody who's played against Thousand Suns know that slams.
No. Notably, this is shooting and combat, even though this is a shooting themed unit. But you can still use it in combat.
Well, remember the flamer pistols are pistols, right? Hand flamers. So you could just.
Yeah, but also your combat weapons will reroll wounds in combat.
Yeah, it's true too.
And it is equipped with a cult icon. In your command phase, you can return up to D3 destroyed models to the bear's unit.
This is still 3 to 5 acolytes. Each one's got a hand flamer. Or is it 5 to 10?
Yeah, still 5 to 10. And you can turn up to D3 models to your bear's unit. If the bear's unit is within range of an objective marker you control, return up to flat 3 destroyed models. You cannot be used to return destroyed models for their characters, and any one-shot weapons equipped by returned models before they were destroyed are still considered to have been shot.
Oh.
So you can't bring back a demo charge and then say that.
Can these take demo charges?
They can. So they can't take the combat weapons. They just have the generic claws.
Yeah.
But for every 5 models in the unit, 2 can have their hand flamer replaced with a demolition charge.
Okay, so very similar to what acolytes do in their existing rendition, but don't have the combat element to it. But I assume that'll be a different data sheet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's going to be the demo charge is the weapon that we described
So
before,
D6 shot, straight 9, AP2, 2 damage, 6 inch range.
and ballistic skill 5 on an acolyte.
Yeah. Sad.
So you could still take 4 demo charges,
Yeah.
or into 5 men you could take 2. But they're not necessarily your grandpa's demo charges, but they're still a good weapon.
And they will also get reroll wounds in the way that
Which
they
is
did not
nice.
before. That
Which
is nice.
And
That
if you
is
have
really nice.
If you have a
It's actually-
Primus, that could be rerolling hits and wounds.
Strength 9 AP2 2 damage with real wounds is better than Strength 12 AP2 2 damage against some targets.
That's true. All right. Then we have the next data sheet, which are acolyte hybrids with auto pistols.
Oh, auto pistols.
Auto pistols. Yeah, that's the defining characteristic of this unit.
Yes.
It's definitely not the fact that they can take heavy mining tools as a melee weapon. Let's just cut to it. They have a cult icon, same as before. The heavy mining tool is the melee weapon that 2 per 5 can take.
Okay.
This is 2 attacks, weapon skill 3, strength 5, AP 2, damage 3, anti-vehicle 4+.
Okay. When you said Strength 5, I was like, what have they done? But it actually turned around.
Yeah.
The damage 3 and anti-vehicle 4+ are great rules.
I think this is super fluffy because just like the lore represents, they can't hurt Tyranids at all.
That's true. That's okay. Most people run vehicles, not monsters, so I will take that.
Yeah, flat 3 is nice on that.
Flat 3 is really nice. Strength 5, AP2, flat 3 is just a hell of a combat line.
Yep, and anti-vehicle 4+ means, you know, if you have 8 of these attacks going in, wounding on 4s, you will put a good hurt on a tank.
And that's for a 10-man getting 8 attacks. You could kill a tank with that.
Yeah, and especially if you put it in one of those attachments that maybe gives it some buffs.
Like, yeah, they're okay. I think GSC is going through a little bit of an identity shift. So for those of you like myself who are looking through it through the lens of like deep striking and bombing people, that is largely gone. And now it's probably going to be like more of like a mid-range swarmy combat army.
Yep. Now, their special rule. It's claimed for the cult. At the start of your command phase, roll a d6 for each objective marker you control that has 1 or more units with this ability on it. If the result is a 4+, you gain a CP.
Okay. Yeah,
This
that's
feels
fine.
like the wrong unit to put that
This
on.
was the rule that Neophytes had instead, and I'm curious what Neophytes' rule will be instead, but
Yeah.
this is, I mean, fine.
I wish the combat unit wasn't the hold your objective bonus.
I would probably just take a 5-man of Acolytes with auto pistols, John, not close combat weapons, with auto pistols.
Of course.
And I'll put my auto pistol wielding Acolytes on my home field objective and try to roll 4s every command phase, be sad when I don't, be happy when I do. And then I'll take multiple 10-mans and slam you in the face with those ones.
I think that's fair. Yeah. And then we have the Neophyte.
The Neophyte, the humble
So the Neophyte does have the same stat line as before. It's still a 5-up save, T3, 1 wound, OC2 troop. It has Deep Strike, and it has a plan, Generations in the Making.
Oh, I love that name.
At the end of your command phase, if this model's engaged a range of an objective, you sticky it, basically. It's just sticky objectives.
Okay, Genestealer Cult legitimately have loved sticky objectives, and I have like thought about taking Guardsmen, and I have taken Guardsmen into my list specifically to sticky it for me, because when you go up and down, you really need to sticky objectives. Oh wait, we're not going up and
You're not
down,
going up and down
folks.
anymore.
We're not doing that. But still, I won't complain about sticky objectives. It is a great rule.
It has the same cult icon as before, which is you can return up to 3 destroyed models in your command phase. Again, this is not reinforcement stuff anymore. This is command phase. And if the bearer's unit is within range of objective mark, you control D3+3 instead, with the same caveat about one-shot weapons and destroyed characters not coming back.
Yeah.
Now, the weapons for Neophytes have changed. So the anointed pistol is still, it's a bolt pistol. The auto pistol, no one cares. All right, let's talk about what matters. The mining laser and the seismic cannon are both different.
Oh boy.
The mining laser is heavy, 24-inch, 1 attack, ballistic skill 5, strength 10, AP3, D6+1.
I love the stat increase. I hate one shot at ballistic skill 5.
Didn't it used to be strength 12?
I thought it was strength 9 before.
Oh,
I mean, to be honest, I only took seismic cannon, so
Yeah.
you know, let's read the seismic cannon also.
Fair enough. Well, here's the seismic cannon. Heavy 2, rapid fire 2. Or sorry, heavy, rapid fire 2. 24-inch range, 2 shots. Strength 6, AP 1, damage D3, ballistic skill 5.
2 shots?
2 shots.
2 shots.
Shot count, 2. Yeah, shooting with this army is going to be a little bit harder.
Okay, folks. I have been trying to put a brave face on for all of my forearmed friends. I no longer know that I can. I need to see AdMech levels of points drops. Like, this army, what is it? It can't kill anything.
I have no idea how you kill things. No idea.
Like,
You hit him with aberrants.
our Acolytes are strength 5. Our Neophytes have 2-shot seismic cannons. 1 shot hits on a 5 mining lasers. We are going to hit them with 30 aberrants. Like, if you want me to play 30 aberrants, I will. Please don't have ruined my aberrants.
Next, we have hybrid metamorphs.
Okay.
These are cool. I'm happy about it. This is the data sheet I'm quite excited about. So they can take an auto pistol or hand flamer, as before. And of course, those are the same weapons as before. Their melee attacks, I believe, are the same as before, which is that they're either 3 attacks, weapon skill 3, strength 5, AP 1, damage 2, or they're 5 attacks, strength 4, AP 1, damage 1, into sweeps you get to choose. They have the same cult icon as the Acolytes, so they heal D3 models, or if you're on an objective, flat 3. And their rule is different. They have 5 Feel No Pain and Scout 6.
Those are good rules.
And each time an enemy unit is selected to shoot, after that unit has shot, if any models from this unit were destroyed, it can make a Brood Surge move. And this isn't a once per phase thing, I think. I don't see a reason why it would be. Cool. So roll a d6, move a number of inches of the result closer to the enemy, and if you can get in range, you have to. If at the start of the battle, every model in this unit is equipped with an auto pistol, each time you make a Brood Surge move, it is a flat 6 inches instead of D6.
Okay.
So you either are hand flamers and you surge D6 inches, or you're auto pistols and you surge flat 6 inches.
That is actually good.
That's an actual decision. And I like that.
Right. At this point, this is one of the stronger units in this codex, and I quite like that, actually. They've been sitting on the backseat for a while.
And you cannot make a Brood Surge if battle shocked.
Right.
And with a 5 Feel No Pain innately, again, that icon ward gives them a 4 Feel No Pain.
If you want to join him to it, yeah.
Yeah. That is Brood Surge 6 inches every time you shoot them.
Yeah, no, they are legitimately going to be scuttling across the table. They scout 6 and they Brood Surge 6. All of a sudden, you shot a Rhino Stormbolter and there's 10 Metamorphs in your place now.
I like that quite a lot.
That's really good. I hope they cost something appropriate. And do they have access to real damage-dealing weapons?
Strength 5, AP 1, damage 2.
They are okay at beating up like infantry.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, okay. They hit as hard as a possessed.
Yep. You can get like a Biophagus in there for +1 to wound against
Infantry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you have the Abominant.
Oh, 2 characters we had missed.
That's true. The Abominant is T6 with a 5 up armor save, 5 wounds, and a power sledgehammer, which is received an attack bonus. It is 4 attacks at weapon skill 3, strength 12, AP 2, damage D6 +1.
I love that it's up to 4 attacks. One of my biggest gripes was it's this awesome smash hammer model that hits 3 attacks.
Yep, and then it has Deep Strike, Leader, and Feel No Pain 5+.
Deep Strike Leader, Feel No Pain 5+. So I'm assuming Aberrants don't have a 4 up Feel No Pain anymore.
That's a reasonable assumption.
Well, to be fair, that seems to be a trend. Our Arcoflagellants also don't. And honestly, 4 Feel No Pain is a stupid mechanic that should not be in the game on multi-wound models. I will die on that hill even though I play those factions.
I agree. I think on a Metamorph, it's kind of okay.
Yeah.
Those are 1 wound.
Multi-wound models make it stupid.
I completely agree. The math gets too weird. So, while this model is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit is destroyed by a melee attack, it fights on death on a 4+.
Aberrants with
that's
Fight on
new.
Death is pretty good. That is brand new.
I think it used to be sustained hits in combat.
Yeah, that's what he gave your unit.
Now it's 4+ Fight on Death.
I will take that.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would
not
take
mind
that
at all.
over a Biophagus, but I might.
Yeah. And then we have Regenerating Gene Mass. The first time this model is destroyed, roll a d6 at the end of the phase. On a 2+, set it up as close as possible to where it was destroyed with its full wounds remaining. Still a great roll.
Yeah. Yeah, come back to life is such a great rule.
I love it.
Any unit as a solo character, don't matter. Love that rule.
Did he ever used to heal wounds, or am I just making that up?
You're just making that up.
Okay. I think that might have been a previous edition thing.
Could be.
All right, now we have Aberrants. Aberrants are still a T6 5-up save 3-wound model. As you predicted, Nick, they are in fact Feel No Pain 5+ now.
Look, I can't complain too much. They probably deserved it. I can only hope they don't cost 400 points for a squad.
Yeah. While a character is leading the unit, if the strength characteristic, if they get attacked and the strength is greater than their toughness, they're -1 to wound.
Same as before.
Same as before. They do, however, have their weapons consolidated.
Okay.
They now only have aberrant weapons. There's no more hypermorph tail or improvised weapons or power sledgehammers.
I am all good with that. Call it what it is. I swing with all them all once. They just have stop signs.
Every aberrant has the same weapon. 3 attacks, weapon skill 3, strength 7, AP 2, damage 2.
Okay. That is not strength 8, AP 2, damage 3.
That is not the same as before.
Strength 7 versus strength 8, whatever, I can live with it.
That's a big break point.
But damage 2 versus damage 3, I don't know that I can live with that one.
Yeah.
This is
a different unit from before. And I think that's fine.
This unit lost a point of strength, a point of damage, and a Feel No Pain pip.
Yes. This has to be looked at as a new unit to before.
I think that's the case for this whole army.
Yeah, I think this is still a fine skirmishy data sheet, but it can't cost what it used to cost.
It used to be, and I'm not even exaggerating, 370 for 10 models before you added the mandatory character.
And you know what? For what that unit did, I understand how that's the points cost they reached.
Yeah.
We do not know what the new points are.
We
I
genuinely
can
don't.
only assume that they are no longer going to cost that.
I don't even want to pay 100 for this.
I would pay 100.
I think that's where we start debating.
For 5?
For 5.
I would do 120. I think it's 3 wounds with a 5-up Feel No Pain. Look, 120 points per unit that walks out and beats to death 5 intercessors very reliably, I'm fine doing that because it's not going to die easily back.
Okay, well...
But I wouldn't detach a character.
I hope the whole army gets a roughly 50% reduction in cost.
Yeah, that's about what that needs,
would take.
Yeah, I agree. Next, we have the Jackal Alphys. Toughness 4, 5 up save, moves 12, 4 wounds, so, you know, a little tankier than a normal character. Has a Colt Sniper Rifle, which is 36 inches, 1 attack, ballistic skill 3, strength 5, AP 2, damage 3, precision heavy. You might as well delete heavy. You are not holding still with your bike unit.
No.
Leader, Scout 9, Stealth. Really wish she was a lone operative, actually.
Would be cool.
In your shooting phase, after this model's unit has shot, select one enemy unit hit by one or more of those attacks. Friendly Genestealer Cult units reroll hit rolls of 1 against that thing.
Okay, I mean, reroll hits and ones is a good rule. I won't complain about that.
Yep. I really wish that some of these various until the end of the phase do X things were until the end of the turn. I really wish like the reroll ones
I wish it could help
hit.
in close combat too.
Yeah,
That would be
a lot of these targeted things are shooting only.
I feel like they were a little afraid of making this codex too powerful, so at every opportunity they added qualifiers and they just made a stat one worse than it could have been. And across the entire army, I have this limp noodle.
There are a lot of hoops.
There are a lot of hoops to do very mundane effects.
Yeah. In your shooting phase, after this model's unit is shot, it can, if it is not in engagement range of any enemy units, it can make a normal move of up to 6, but it can't charge. So it's a 6-inch fire and fade, and then if it hits something, you reroll 1 to hit for the rest of the army with it.
Okay, I mean that's the same as before largely, and pretty solid if you're going to run that bike detachment. You're going to run the bikes. Yeah.
Yep. Then we've got Adeline Jackals. These are 2 wound, 5 up save T4 bikes with 1 OC and move 12.
Yeah.
And the 1 OC, of course, will double the 2 if you're in the right detachment. So their rule is that each time you use Colt Ambush and set up this unit back on the battlefield, in addition to the normal restrictions, it must be set up wholly within 9 inches of a battlefield edge, and at least one of its models must be touching one of your Colt Ambush markers.
So that's actually a buff, technically. It used to be wholly within 6 of your battlefield edge.
There we go. It is now wholly within 9.
There we go.
And if that cannot be done, the unit cannot be set up.
Yeah, sure.
The other rule is once per turn in your movement phase, when this unit ends a normal move, advance, or fallback, select an enemy within 6 invisible to this unit, roll 1d6 for each Jackal model in this unit. For each 4+, suffer 1 mortal wound to a maximum of 6.
We reign in the mortals, folks. That's still.
And this is in your movement phase, so a normal move out of sequence due to a stratagem or fire and fade or an enhancement, none of those will cause mortals.
I think is fair. The idea of the Jackal unit moving 5 times in a battle round to cause a billion mortals was a little silly.
Yep.
But with that said, we need something here, folks.
So for every 4 Adeline Jackals in the unit, 2 can have their close combat weapon replaced with an Adeline power weapon. For every 4 in the unit, 1 can be replaced with a grenade launcher, and each Adeline Wolf Quad can have one of the following heavy weapons.
Okay.
And the Adeline power weapon is 2 attacks at strength 4, AP 2, damage 1, weapon skill 4.
Okay, so pretty mid unit, pretty much across the board. Does a little shooting, does a lot of moving, it does a little combat.
Yep.
Nothing too inspiring. Hopefully it comes down in cost.
Yeah, this unit doesn't, and it's fast.
It's fast.
And it's stealthy.
Look,
it doesn't do much.
It doesn't have to do a specific thing well if it does a lot of things okay, and it's not expensive.
Yep. Now we're into the Achilles Ridgerunner. Toughness 7, 3 up save, 8 wounds, move 12. I believe that's the same as before.
Yep.
And OC 3. It has, I believe, the same rules before. Crossfire. In your shooting phase, after this unit has shot, select an enemy unit hit by 1 or more of those attacks. Each time a friendly Genestealer Cult unit makes an attack that targets enemy unit, improve the AP of that attack by 1. The same enemy unit can only be affected by this ability once per turn. I think that's the same as before.
That is the same as before. Extra AP is welcome. I mean, I'm never going to complain about that, especially because this one lasts the phase of the turn.
This is until the end of the turn, makes an attack. Okay.
Yeah, so this
does
help in close
combat. That is very helpful.
That is like the type, and
this is what we wanted.
You want a cheap little backfield screen, moves around, moves 12 inches, does an action, scouts, is sort of tough to kill, OC3, and buffs your close combat and shooting. This is a good tank.
I like that.
Yeah.
Next, we have the 3 war gear abilities. It gets to choose one of these 3 things. Either Flare Launcher, gain the smoke keyword, and can be targeted with Smoke Screen Stratagem for 0 CP. Or Spotter, the bear's ranged weapons have ballistic skill 3. Or Survey Auger. Each time the bear's unit has shot, select an enemy unit hit by 1 or more attacks made by the bear, and Genestealer Cult ignores cover against that thing.
So outside of the detachment, that was the index one, which gives you Norse cover on the one turn that you'll be dropping in.
The ignore cover
The
gets a
ignore
lot
cover
better.
one really seems a lot better.
Yeah, that seems quite strong now.
Yeah.
Ballistic skill 3 is also quite solid if you're going for the more direct shooting approach, which their weapons are, I believe, the same. You either have the heavy mining laser, D3 shots, ballistic skill 4, strength 12, AP 3, D6 plus 1, blast. The heavy mortar, which is D6 plus 3 shots at strength 6, AP 0 damage, 1 indirect fire. And then finally the Achilles missile launcher, which is 3 shots, strength 9, AP 2 damage 3.
Yeah.
I like the mining laser. And I think it's the same as before.
I think it really depends what your job is for the vehicle. I always liked running a couple solo ones of these with just the heavy mortar to make sure I could target the unit I was trying to target with the extra AP.
I think I'm going to be looking at a little bit less infantry-based shooting damage than before.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to rework the lens in which we evaluate these units.
Absolutely. We are now on to the Goliath Rock Grinder. And so this is still a toughness 10, 10 wound, move 12 transport. Each time an enemy unit excluding monsters and vehicles that is within engagement range of this model falls back, it must take a desperate escape test. If it is battle shock, subtract 1 from those results. So it no longer does mortals on the charge.
I would have preferred that it did mortals on the charge.
Me too.
I don't love that people dig desperate brave scouts when they leave combat with me, which they're probably not doing.
Sometimes it can matter.
It could.
The excluding monsters and vehicles is what I hate.
Yeah,
It's like you're going to kill like 1 or 2 infantry models.
I just don't like that my opponent gets to control whether or not I have rules.
Yeah. It is deadly demise D3, it is firing deck 6, and its weapons appear to be the same as before, at least in ranged. Its clearance incinerator is 2d6 at strength 6, AP 1 damage 1, torrent ignores cover. It has a demolition charge cache, which is assault blast hazardous, 6-inch range. It is a demo charge from the Acolyte. It has a heavy stubber, and then it either has a heavy mining laser or a heavy seismic cannon. The heavy mining laser is D3 shots blast at the same stats as the Ridgerunner, strength 12, AP 3, D6 plus 1. And the heavy seismic cannon is 24-inch, rapid fire 2, strength 8, AP 2, damage D3, 4 shots. So 6 if you're within 12.
Yeah.
I think I prefer the mining laser there again.
Probably. I'm just really sad about the rules going away.
Yeah. The last data sheet in this codex is the Goliath truck. This is a 10 wound T9 12-inch moving transport. Both of these Goliaths do have 3-up saves for what it's worth. And it has the same demolition charge cache as before, heavy stubber same as before, and a twin autocannon, which is exactly what it sounds like. 2 shots, strength 9, AP 1, damage 3, twin linked. And its rule is, in your shooting phase, after this model is shot, select an enemy unit it scored a hit against. Until the end of the phase, a model that disembarked from this transport can reroll the wound roll.
Okay. I like that rule still exists. I mean, it didn't get worse.
Yeah, but who's it for? Because the demo, the acolytes with guns still reroll wounds. I think it's objectives.
Hey, I guess it's for your neophytes with their 2-shot seismic cannons.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Is that the last data sheet, John?
That's the last data sheet.
Okay, that's the Genestealer Cults Codex. I will tell you, we read the Sisters one yesterday, and I was a lot more uppy, downy, excited, I don't know what they will cost. They will have to change because this is just worse in most capacities.
Yep.
And that's really
the
disappointing.
detachments provide a lot of interesting flavor, but I think the reality is that Genestealer Cult was in a tough situation. Before this codex, Genestealer Cult was an army that relied on just blasting every damage buff possible through the seismic cannon and the demo charge.
Yeah.
And you had a lot of other data sheets that, frankly, you just didn't see.
Armies were made out of acolytes and neophytes.
Yeah, metamorphs you just didn't see.
Yeah.
Goliaths, bikers you just didn't see.
Yeah.
You took maybe one Goliath to ferry around a bomb squad to get a different way of getting a bomb squad on, but it was about the bomb squad. Aberrants were seen early, then they got pointed into a point that you stopped seeing them much. And occasionally you saw 5 strong pure strains if people were trying to be cute, and then after about a month of that, they cut those for more acolytes and neophytes again. They very much needed to change that dynamic.
Look,
It's very hard to get a read on how they've done.
I think what's changed is not just that we have these detachments, which are trying to make other play styles work, and they might actually do that. Like, I am still excited about the bikes and the vehicle detachment, because I think that is a really cool way to play the army. I am still excited about the aberrant combat detachment. The fact that those stats all got worse, like in close combat, aberrants going strength 7, AP 2, and 2 damage, that does leave me a little concerned that even if we get priced down to an appropriate amount, we are just missing power. We are just missing the ability to like kill a land raider. Like, where is it?
I have no idea how this book kills one Redemptor Dreadnought.
Yeah.
Like one.
There are a cheeky amount of mortal wounds you can throw around. Now, it's not like Thousand Suns, but it's like the Reductive Saboteur can still do her thing. There is a relic that does mortal wounds for your Abominant. Like, Grenades is a stratagem. Like, you can muscle through in cheeky ways against a singular hard target like an Avatar. But the second you play against a durable army, like multiple Satan, multiple Redemptors, something like that, I just think you come up short. And I'm wondering if the identity shift will be such that Genestealer Cult is a horde army all of a sudden, literally Admech style, where our points are reduced to that of like cheap little rat people coming around the table with OC a billion.
That could work.
That can work.
It could work.
That is legitimately an identity, that's a viable strategy, and that is actually competitively good.
Yep. And Genestealer Cult has been a horde army in the past.
Yeah, but they played like this before, which is why I'm not trying to be all negative Nancy, doom and gloom. There is no hope for the future. There is hope for the future, but it does require a mindset shift and a point shift to reflect the new identity.
I completely agree. This doesn't, like, first read, this is probably going to feel underwhelming.
It definitely did.
And yeah, I went through the same stage of my first read. But there are some very interesting rules. If you get more units to play with, and again, we don't really know what the points are of any of this.
Right.
But getting melee acolytes that do reroll advances in charges and advance in charge, that with like a Primus could just go wipe a tank.
Yeah.
In the Xeno Swarm Detachment, the Xeno Brood, that one.
And I think you actually do have a little bit more support for coming back to life in the form of all these stupid conditional stratagems that I refuse to read.
Yeah, if you have like
The specific unit.
an icon ward and you are taking the unit and you're using it, because it's not like it's requiring unreasonable units, right? If you're playing Brood Brothers, yeah, you're taking guard tanks.
Yeah, and if you're playing the Pure Strain Abra Detachment, you're going to play
Pure Strains.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think like it's impossible to set up. I just hate that I have to work to a degree to set it up.
Yeah, agreed.
With that said, I'm optimistic and eager to see the points changes. I'm hoping that they will recognize some of the changes in the context in which the game has changed around and Genestealer Cult with that. And what I have noticed is even if they on release don't do much with the points, which I really hope they do, even if they don't do much, don't worry folks, your win rates will only plummet for so long before they eventually see that they need to adjust the points for this book.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there are enough rules in here that are interesting that I want to see it on the table. I like the Biosanctic Brood Search for getting Metamorphs and Pure Strains hitting hard. And you know what? If they cost a reasonable points, Aberrants with those rules would be fine. That datasheet with those bonuses would be totally okay. It just has to cost like the datasheet it is, not the datasheet it was.
I will say, as an avid fan of the Forum Emperor who's been loyal to the cult for years now, I expected more, I wanted to see more, and I am genuinely a little bit disappointed, but perhaps unjustly so. I have not played this army on the table, we have not seen the new points cost, and maybe I am just straight up missing it.
Absolutely. We've seen that with some books in the past, where I seem to recall us having some similar reactions when things like Dark Angels and Custodians came out, and then those books went on to win multiple games in the first month of testing of Art of War.
Yeah.
And so it's very rarely that an army is exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
For better or worse, it's very rarely the first take.
Time will tell. The plan has been making for generations, so maybe this is just one more step in the ultimate cult plan.
Absolutely.
But we shall bear the fruits of the sunrise as the sewers open up.
Absolutely. So even though Nick has not played any games with this book yet, by the time you're watching this, Nick has played games.
That's true. There's games actually happening right now in the Worm, which you can check out.
Yeah, so if you watch this video, thank you so much for sticking through it. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Please leave a like, please share with your friends. Again, that comment and the subscribe really helps us grow the channel. And by subscribing, you will get notified when we go live with more content. Trust me, we've got 2 new codexes. That means we're going to be doing games and tier lists and list theory with both of them in the upcoming weeks. And if you subscribe, you get notified so you can get more good Sisters and Genestealer Cult content. Plus, you can watch the games that Nick and I will be playing with these armies in the Worm.
That's right. So theworm.vhx.tv, it's in the link below. There is a 3-day free trial of all of our wonderful subscription content going on right now, along with the sale. So you can check that out and get access to your War Room right now.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We hope you enjoyed it. You have a good one. Bye-bye.